Hi, everybody.
What's up, guys?
I am not today.
Welcome to another edition of Supernatural Talk, and we have a very special guest this week.
Wait, who's that? Who's very special?
Well, you're special, but we won't talk about why.
So it begins already.
Yep.
Okay.
Continue because our topic this week is something that I have been wanting to talk about for a very long time. The importance of having goats as pets.
That's enough. I'm going to have to leave.
Monkeys and monkeys.
Mm-mm-mm.
You know, Artie's getting a monkey.
Okay, number one, goats will knock you in the behind with their horns, and they have no problem doing that, and it hurts like hell. Monkeys will throw their poop at you.
That's exactly what Artie's getting a monkey.
Monkeys throw poop.
Don't they throw them too?
Yeah.
Now, fainting goats are fun because you turn around and go, stop it, and they're done.
I don't throw poop, Denise.
No, you are poop.
No. Does Eileen have somewhere she has to be?
Yeah, I need to be in my room over there.
Usually in bed.
No, it is freaking 95 degrees right now at my house.
Listen, Chrissy's in the house.
Hi, Chrissy.
Hey,
Oh, Chrissy.
sister.
It's 95 degrees in your house.
No, outside. So I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not in the podcast room.
I was gonna say, yeah.
That's
So no,
not good.
no, it was in the triple
Yeah.
digits today.
My
You know,
son texted me and said, it's 107 degrees in the shade, Mom. I said,
Ouch. I don't
it's
think
85 here.
it's here yet this summer.
It started out like it was going to get hot here today, and then we had those showers roll through. It wasn't really a storm here. Kind of broke apart before it got here, but man, it's chilly out there right now. It's like 65, something like that.
Yeah,
Up here
it
it's
was,
like 77.
we're under tornado watch right now.
Seriously?
Oh, yeah. It's Weld County spreads across what should be 5 counties. And they say, oh, there's a tornado watch in Weld County.
So it could be 150 miles from you. And
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the wind going, that's cool.
I just looked it up and it says feels like 99 degrees outside. It is.
Chrissy,
Oh, come
Simple
on.
answer: don't go outside, Eileen.
That's why I'm in my bedroom.
Chrissy, camping in tents is so much fun.
No,
As
it's
long
not.
as you
Not
got
when
a
you're
fishing
busy.
pole.
No, it's
Well,
not.
I know Jeremy knows won't do it.
Chrissy's
You got a
bougie.
fishing
She
pole,
don't do
you're
that.
good.
I've done the camping in tents, not fun. I've also done RVs, definitely not fun. Nope.
What the hell is wrong with you?
We have an RV.
I prefer comforts.
Okay, so in that tent, you get a blow-up mattress. They make them 6 foot tall. Shit, you can have them the size of your bed. Get up there, lay down. You are good. There is nothing wrong with that.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, Chrissy, read the book. Okay, get that tent. Get one of those little lanterns that pull up. Read your book while he's fishing. No problem.
He ain't gonna do it.
The only
How the
problem
hell did we
right
get
there-
started talking about camping in the first place? Chrissy comes in out of left field and talks about going camping. Where the hell how does that relate to the conversation we were having, Chrissy?
That's Chrissy.
I just want to know. Can I?
I will go swatching. I never said anything about going camping.
Oh, did I send you that Sasquatch thing? I don't think I did.
No, me.
There in Wyoming, the actual whatever the forestry service or whatever they call it there, game wardens, I don't know.
Nope,
put
haven't seen
out
the
this
movie.
thing. I'm talking with their logo on it that
Yep.
said it is Bigfoot season.
Yep.
If you see a Bigfoot, do not yell at them. Do not run from them. Do not run at them. Take pictures. Stay where you are. They do not want to harm you. And call us.
Yep.
I'm like, is this for real? So I really had to Google this to see if it was for real. And it was. I'm like, wow. So they're actually getting in the game here too? They're actually figuring out something's happening?
At some point, all these government entities or whatever are going to have to come clean on everything. I mean, the Pentagon's finally starting to come clean on UFOs. At some point, they're going to have to start coming clean on some of these other things. I see my brother's in here saying he'll go camping. He's a glamper. He acts like he'll go camping.
So is he
He had
the
a
good
big-
one of the bunch?
Who's
He had a
Facebook
big
user?
bougie camper. And,
Oh, Ken?
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Cat, he's right
is
here.
Is
Yeah.
he the good one of the group?
No, he's
Ain't
terrible.
none of them
Look
good.
at that hat. I mean,
Ain't none of them
he's a
good.
Kentucky Wildcats fan. How could he be good? Come on.
So,
Who's
Ernie, I
Facebook
got a
user?
question for you.
Well, that's what
Yeah,
I'm trying to figure out. But
They did say that too. Do not feed them. Do not offer them food. Do not approach them. Stop acting like you're going to go either chase them or make
Yeah.
friends with them. Do not shoot them. Do not. I mean, like there was this list, and then it said, "Call us."
Oh,
I can just imagine
Don't-
here in Colorado calling them, going, "Hey, I've got this Bigfoot on video. He's standing like 25 feet from me, and it said to call."
And he's mad because I'm not feeding him.
Yeah. You want to come feed this man, please?
And I just give him a donut.
Jeremy, I just found out who it is. It's Robert White from Australia and Tom,
he's
Tom
the
McNicholas.
second
Yeah.
Facebook user.
Yep. Here- Okay, so there's two. Yeah, Tom's
Awesome. Hi,
watching.
Robert.
And the one who said that he likes camping, that's Tom.
Yeah, that's Tom.
Ernie,
And
I
also
got a
too, when it
question.
comes to
Wait
and
a
Tom
minute.
also when it comes to wait, what?
Hate
Well-
shitting in the woods. Okay, dude. Let's talk about this a minute.
Oh,
Are
geez.
you gonna hold this the whole time you're camping, or what you gonna do there?
Well, one thing for sure is you don't.
If you're in the woods and you got to go, you got to go.
Got a
You
Should
gotta
we-
look at it, you know.
There's lambs here. You can wipe your behind. It's all good. You can
Well, what-
bury it.
One word of
You
advice
can-
though. You were saying the do's and don'ts when it comes to encountering Bigfoot. Sure as hell, don't throw shit at them.
Yeah, that's probably not the best idea.
Probably a good idea to not do that.
So that's what I was going to ask Ernie. When I come over,
What's up,
can
Brad?
Denise and I decorate my room, and I leave my pets behind when I get the monkey and all, and I just
You're
leave
not,
them behind?
you're not bringing animals to the house, Eileen. It's not happening. I mean, the only animal that's going to come up here from Mississippi and stay in this house is yo monkey ass.
I'm going to bring one just for that. Denise will let me.
Don't be over nodding your head yes either.
See?
No. Let's change the subject real quick.
Yeah,
Wait a minute.
Okay, so yes,
We
let's.
have a reaction.
we got off to a rough
Brad.
start.
We can actually
Brad.
react to Ernie on this show.
Brad, go on.
Denise has got my back.
You're no, Brad.
Brad, shut up. No goats.
Okay, so I've been seeing parts of this, and I want to see what's going on. What is with the Fort Duffield?
Fort Duffield is a Civil War fort that has it's an earthen fort, meaning it's just dirt walls. It wasn't like wooden walls like a lot of forts when you think of forts. Built in the Civil War. It's high on top of the hill right over there. It was built to protect this town, West Point, Kentucky, which was a really vital supply point for Sherman's troops as they moved south. And then even when the South was trying to push north, they were traveling through here a lot. So the fort was built there to kind of guard those supply lines. Excuse me. Never was actually attacked or anything, but we know of at least 48 deaths that occurred there through accidents, illness, things like that. And the fort itself was never really open to private investigations in the past. You had to go through the city and get a special permit to go up there and stay overnight, things like that. But it wasn't done like an overnight investigation, which we have now. Denise and I reached an agreement with the city. We signed a contract with them. We've opened it up for private investigations. Had our first private investigation ever last weekend.
Wow.
And Black Cat Paranormal was in town, and they had a very active night. They actually believe they encountered a Bigfoot up there.
Wow.
Danielle Fletcher, who does the booking for Black Cat Paranormal, she's already bought a ticket for our next event, which happens to be an event where we got Squatch Man up there, along with Todd Leanne Eskew and Denise and myself. We're going to do a kind of a cookout and then a meet and greet, little tour of the fort. And then we're going to do some squatching and some ghost hunting up there and
So-
see what we can come up with.
You bought this, right?
No, we didn't. We bought this house. The fort
Okay.
belongs to the city. We signed a contract with the city to do
Okay.
the events up there.
Okay. I know. I was trying to see
that's
how
every
far
night.
it was because I have heard of that when I lived in Mount Eden and Taylorsville, Kentucky, and all of that. I had heard of it, but never been there.
Yeah.
I think as far as we got was maybe the capital because I was working for an attorney at the time and
Got the Franklin.
traveling with him. But so at this point we have death, we have Sasquatch, and whatever else may come up through investigation. So you're going to start like you did when you were running the, I don't even know.
Investigations at Waverly.
Okay. I didn't know if we wanted to even say that, but
Yeah.
The other location.
Yeah.
so you're
been
going to
a
run
dog whistle
this like
there.
that and get the history from the investigations, your investigations, and the people investigating.
Yeah. If there's any, there's a lot of, you guys know this. I mean, particularly like with Waverly, a lot of the history that you get or the stories that you hear about a place are just things that are passed down for years that may or may not be 100% accurate.
Right.
And I personally feel like, and I think a lot of you guys would agree with me, that a lot of times through paranormal investigation, we can clear up some misinformation that's been passed down through urban legends and history books and you name it.
Yeah.
But what I've been doing since we signed this or started working on this agreement with the city is I've been reading everything I can on the history of Fort Duffield and learning everything I can, from a historical perspective. We haven't done a full-on investigation ourselves up there yet. So the groups that are coming in there to investigate right now, they are going to be helping us rewrite that history or, confirm it or whatever the case may be. And so it's, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. You guys all of you all know me enough to know that I get real passionate about this kind of stuff once I get into it. And I'm already starting to get an attachment to that place
Yeah.
because of, when I think about those kids, yeah,
I'm
right.
sorry, I had to share that one.
It's hard, Todd. It's hard.
I'm trying to not even look at her corner of the screen, Todd.
I'm trying to cover my ears.
Anyway, these were reservists. They were from Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, and Michigan, mostly from the 9th Michigan that manned the fort up there. Most of them were teenagers. There was a kid there that his name's Robert Hendershot. You can look him up. He was 12 years old when he mustered into the U.S. Army. He spent time at Fort Duffield. So, most of these kids, they weren't expecting to be deployed. They weren't expecting war to break out. If you know the history of the Civil War, there were senators saying, "Oh, I could wipe up all the blood that'll be spilled in this war with one handkerchief," because they didn't think it would last. They thought if it did break out, it might last a week, 2 weeks. So these kids, they weren't expecting to get called up. Then they get sent to active duty, shipped off to Kentucky, to a town where everyone there is a rebel, basically, Southern sympathizing town. They weren't wanted. And, a lot of bad things were happening to them. They were scared to death. There's reports. I mean, I've seen letters from the commanding officer where he was writing Sherman saying that they needed more ammunition and more powder because they're running out. And he's like, "Why? You're not having any battles." And the guy responds, "Well, every time these kids hear something moving in the woods, the entire fort erupts in gunfire." They were just that scared,
So there's probably a lot of friendly fire.
Hi, Chris.
Well, we know of one guy that was walking up the hill with his buddy, and it was muddy, and it's a very steep hill. You'll see if you ever come. The one guy slips, butt of his rifle hits the ground, gun discharges, and blows the other guy's head off.
Oh,
That's the only
God.
the only death we know of, by gunfire that happened up there. But there were a couple of drownings, and then a whole lot of folks died of cholera or
Just diseases.
just various typhoid, various diseases up there.
that's still death,
No,
and
Yeah.
that's still
Yeah.
tragic.
That's
There's a
something-
mass grave up there, that a lot of the bodies have been reinterred and put in other cemeteries since the war ended. But, at one time they were just all piled in one hole and not marked or anything. It just said 9th
Getting out
Michigan.
of time.
There was a marker that said
Jeez.
9th Michigan.
I'm
So
sure
you-
they did the best they could with what they had.
mentioned that they never really opened it up too much until recently. Do you think that the fight for the paranormal that was going on in Kentucky, do you think that had something to do with opening their eyes to the paranormal society out there?
I really don't, to be honest.
I just didn't know if they're like, "Hey, look at all this paranormal people."
Well, we actually approached them when we moved down here. We bought a house that's a haunted house.
Right.
In 1841 was used as a Civil War hospital. And we knew that we would be involved in the town in some way. We wanted to help bring this town back to life. There's so much history in this town. Anybody that's ever visited this town, you go down our street, there's a historical marker about every 100 feet on the street.
Oh, wow.
There's history after history after history in this town. And it's a little forgotten, rundown town that doesn't get a lot of press or, it's just a forgotten town. And we knew that we wanted to help try to bring it back in some way. And the fort just seemed like the logical place to start. So I approached the mayor shortly after we moved here. He put me in touch with the people. It's a group called the Friends of Fort Duffield, which is a nonprofit that helps preserve and maintain the fort, basically just a bunch of volunteers. And we talked to them and worked out a deal, and they were thrilled. Anything they could bring money in to help them keep the fort up, they were all for it. So
I
so
found
far, it's a good relationship.
what it used to look like back then.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
And you can see our house in that drawing, as a matter of fact.
Really?
Yeah.
This
If
one,
you look, you see the two steamboats. You see the smoke of the one that's on the left. Go all the way to the end of the smoke of the one that's on the left, and it kind of ends at a big house.
Uh-huh.
The next house behind it, toward the fort, is actually our house.
Oh, wow.
It's like the smoke is like pointing towards that particular area. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
And here's the fort.
Yep.
So that makes perfect sense what you were saying, that they built that there to protect this little town here.
yeah. You see, there's two rivers that come together right there. The one where you see the big steamboat right there in the foreground, that's the Ohio River. The other steamboat that looks like it's headed to another river. That's the Salt River. And you see that bridge that goes across there. That was the old Louisville and Nashville Turnpike, which was,
Okay.
it basically became Highway 31W, which was the north-south version of Route 66 back in the day.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, you can tell. I mean, that would have
And
been.
where is the fort? So the fort's at the top of the hill, right?
Yes,
Where the flag
yeah, where
is.
the flag is.
Right here.
Okay. How far is that actually from you? Like
Right
in
now,
miles?
if I take the trail and that winds around the hill, I think it's like 1.5 miles.
Oh, okay.
If I walk directly to it, it'd be probably less than 1 mile.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you're
It
pretty
looks so
close
far
to it.
away in the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really not that hill. I mean, it's literally right over there.
Have
It's
you
Right,
gotten,
right over there. Right
have
there.
you gotten activity like outside your house
Todd.
or anything like that?
Inside our house, outside our house. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Our
I'm
backyard
sure that had
we've heard was a potter's field back behind the house.
I'm still
house
here. I just had to go off camera.
It's
for a
called the
second.
Ditto House Inn. You can Google the Ditto House Inn, and it comes up. It's kind of hard to figure it out because, like I was talking about earlier with history, there's a lot of confusion. You can look up 204 Elm Street, which is our address. It'll bring up a picture of a house which is 2 doors down from me, which is called the Ditto Lansdale House.
It also comes up as Ditto Pruitt.
It also comes up as the Ditto Pruitt House. Our
Oh,
house was the Ditto House Inn.
okay.
And if you Google the Ditto House Inn, it'll say probably the most haunted house in Kentucky. Now, we're not sure if they're talking about our house or the one that's 2 doors down that gets confused a lot of times. But I can tell you, our house is the most haunted house in Kentucky that I've ever lived in.
Right.
It is haunted. Yeah,
Is it good spirits though? Like they're not wanting to harm anyone?
No, we got a very flirtatious Union soldier that plays with Denise's hair. We've got an EVP of him catcalling her. We've got a elegant-looking Victorian era woman that we've seen. We've got a couple of children that like to leave rocks on the stairs here at the house. Just all kinds of things. I mean, there's a lot. Yeah. Honestly, you know, when we first bought this, I put out a video. I think Jeremy's seen the video. The very first day I was here, we had I see that. We had, I was the only person in the house. I had just gotten the key and had a door slammed downstairs. And I walked around the corner, checked that door out to see what might have caused it to slam. Couldn't find a reason. So I stepped back, went into ghost hunter mode, started recording, asked him to close the door again. And sure enough, it closed. I got it on camera. And if Jeremy's got that, he can show it. But people, you know, when I posted that, people were like, oh, you need to sage that, or that'd be a big nope for me, and blah, blah, blah. And we're like, this is what we live for. You know?
I know, you don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah, this door right over here, you can't see it. It's around the corner there. But there's a door between the room I'm in and the room that my son's using for a bedroom. When we came through for our final walkthrough, before we actually signed the closing papers, that door was screwed shut. It had a door handle on it and was closed and locked and had a screw in it holding it shut. And I told the lady at that time, I said, well, we're going to open that back up. I mean, it's stupid to have it screwed shut. She said, well, we just do it because we don't like to have to heat the whole house. I'm like, okay, whatever. So about a half hour after that door had slammed that I caught on video, I'm downstairs and I heard a crash upstairs here. I came up here and looked. The door handle was in 2 different pieces laying in the floor over there. The screws were laying on the floor and the door was standing wide open. So I guess, you know, they had heard me saying I was going to open it up and they wanted to help. I don't know. But there was,
Forget it.
Yeah, why
You know
not?
what you're doing, we'll do it for you.
yeah.
Wow.
They heard the go ahead.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Black Wolf says, Todd and Leanne were here, and my son, we were all walking through the house, and my son, who's 17, and he's not really into this stuff, we walked through the, I guess the foyer area, walking out toward the front door, and he looked over into the library, and we've got an antique rocking chair that was sitting there just rocking by itself, and he's like, "Well, the chair's rocking." We all looked in there and was like, "Yeah," and
So-
he just kind of shook his head, like, "Oh Jesus."
I
But
know that you've probably been through every inch of your house. I know this isn't really about your house, but how much stuff is left have you found left behind, like from the conception of the house?
well, when we bought it, they had told us, part of the deal was they were going to leave a couple of pieces that were original to the house. We've got the original mail desk that was at the house. It was built in 1841. And we've got a desk. William Tecumseh Sherman had taken over this town, and he had a headquarters here, I guess four doors down now. And during the 1937 flood, the desk that he had used when he was staying at that house washed out of the house, and it wound up in the yard of our house, and it's beat all up, and it was mangled. And the people that owned it said to the people who owned this house at the time, said, "Well, y'all can just keep that if you want it. I mean, it's no use to us. It's wore out. It's done." So that desk is still at our house. It was Sherman's desk, which is pretty freaking cool.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I know when Rebecca and Donald bought their house was built, I believe, in like 1898.
Mhm.
They have, what do you call it? Like the top of the castles. What's it called?
Gothic
Oh, like the
revival
little
or
round parts.
Yeah,
oh, that's like a tower of some sort.
Capulet or turret.
Yeah,
They got
Capulet.
one at the top of their house, and you have to go through this really small attic space, and then you can walk through the attic, but it's like a really small crawl space. So we went up there and we found bricks that were still from the original part of the house.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so
Capula.
it's just it's just stupid things that people
There
don't
you
think
go,
about.
man.
That yeah,
Definitely.
thank you. That people don't think about, that we live for that kind of stuff, to find original stuff.
Yeah, and it's really cool. I know I lived in Kentucky for about 10 years, and Kentucky's history, I don't care how much people want to say, well, that's backwoods and they're inbred, and they say the same shit about Arkansas, whatever. But the town I lived in was like a town of 300 people. Literally, that's the whole town. And that's the best memories I have ever had, because we were all friends. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody knew everybody's business too, whether it was true or not. You knew it.
Right.
And I got my first welcome in Kentucky when my kids made friends with the kid next door. And I didn't know the mom and dad real well, but little redheaded boy was quite a tyrant. And this kid came over.
Right there, a little redhead boy. So
Yeah. I came home. There was a motorbike on my back porch, and I'm like, where'd that come from? I know we didn't buy that. I know I don't have the money to buy that. Where did that come from? And my husband was like, oh, well, the kid next door brought it. He's storing it here. I said, the hell? He is not. I said, he didn't buy that. Where'd it come from? I'm going to go talk to his parents. I went next door. His dad. And this is the community I would love to live in again. His dad goes, I know I didn't buy that for him. I know he didn't work for it. So I know he stole it. He was like 12 or 13 at the time. And I said, oh, is that right? Then you need to take this back to your house, because no. And he said, hold on, give me a sec. He pulled the kid out of the bedroom and goes,
Yes.
where did that come from? And he said, all right. He said, I stole it. I'm like, oh my God, you guys got to get this out of my house. I'm not going to be a part of this. I work for a lawyer. I cannot do this. Get it out. He said, you take him back over there. and you whoop his ass. He said, that was at your house. You whoop his ass. And I'm like, that is not my kid to whoop his ass. He said, if you don't whoop his ass because it happened at your house, I'm going to whoop his ass twice as hard. And he pulls out this collar he calls a Raven. And it's got studs. And that kid went white when he saw that. And I'm like, I'll take care of it. I will take care of it. I brought him over there and I said, what the hell do you think you're doing? He says, he's trying to hide it from my dad. He really did get it legit. But his dad,
He didn't have his dad's permission to get it in the first place.
Right.
So,
and
yeah.
so the rule there in that town was if a kid, I don't care whose kid, does something bad at your house, you're going to discipline
Right.
it.
Exactly.
Because if they go home, they're going to get it 10 times worse.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I learned that belt.
West Point, we've got about 840 citizens of West Point.
Mhm.
It's a small town, and I mean it's the kind of place where, you know, if you need something that your neighbor has,
Mhm.
you can call your neighbor and say, "Hey, I need a chainsaw or something," and they'll say, "Well, go on over to the shed. It's unlocked. Get it. Just bring
Yep.
it back when you're done with it."
Yep.
You know, I mean, it's that kind of thing. I mean,
Yes.
you don't have to have bars on your windows and all that kind of stuff because everybody watches each other's property and
Yep.
Not like here.
make sure that nothing bad's going on. So it's cool. I
No,
really like
I
it.
loved it there. I really did. Even in Taylorsville, which was a little bigger than obviously Mount Eden. But
Yeah.
we would like ride our horses to the other person's house. It was nothing to see somebody riding their horse because they needed to exercise them across the town, which was all of 10 blocks.
Mhm.
But
Don't lie, Adrian. That's just because it was before cars. But go ahead.
you and Brad need to get together because you and Brad, I cannot
Around here, everybody. I mean, we're out of the loop because we don't have a golf cart. Everybody else in West Point, they get around by golf cart because you can get from one end of town to the other in, it's like 12 blocks.
That right there to me is the American.
I've got to play off of what Denise said. And hey, Beth, I love you, sister. So, Ernie, why don't you tell me about the kayak and titties?
And the stripper
Okay.
poles.
I don't know anything about stripper poles. That's all on Beth. No, like I told you, we've got two rivers that come together right behind the house. I mean, the point where they come together is directly in our backyard back here. And I was out there mowing the yard one day and I got hot and I sat down to kind of cool off and just relax for a minute. And I'm just looking out at the view thinking, wow, this is awesome. We're so lucky to be here, blah, blah, blah. I see an eagle come flying down Salt River, swoop down and snatch a fish out of the river. And I'm like, this is just awesome. I mean, what a blessing, And
Not for the fish.
no, I look up Salt River and I see a kayak coming up Salt River. And there's a girl in a bikini on the kayak. And she comes all the way out Salt River, goes out to the point there. There's this like long, narrow point that comes out into the river. And yeah, we call it Poontang Point. And now we do anyway. She rows up to the point, gets off her kayak, stands there, starts taking off her bikini, throws it in the kayak, and then starts taking selfies of herself out by the river naked.
With a selfie stick, as Todd said.
No
what
selfie.
the heck?
She's just doing all these poses and snapping pictures, and I'm like,
You can probably go to her.
am I really
OnlyFans
seeing
page.
this? So I had to take a picture with my camera. I had to. I mean, it's like you have to. I mean, it's in the Constitution, I believe. If a naked woman is snapping selfies in your backyard, you take pictures. So, Bill of Rights or something. I don't know. Anyway,
No.
so I sent it to Denise, and I'm like, I had to take this picture. You wouldn't have believed me if I
At
didn't.
least you did share it with Denise. You didn't just find it in your phone.
Right. Yeah. But it really happened. And so now my brother, if he's still watching, he's asking me every day when he can come over and hang out in the backyard.
So is that about the same time that
Kayak porn is a
you were
new
flashing
thing.
the neighbors?
Mm.
Can you imagine?
See, I thought we were going to talk about Fort Duffield.
I didn't really know at that time you were flashing the neighbors.
It's the vicinity.
Can you imagine if one of those pictures that girl took, you happen to be in the background somehow, Ernie?
Yeah. I'm sure she probably got somewhere I'm in the background, but I'm like across the river and up on the hill.
Through the woods, down Grandma's house you go.
But no, when we first moved here, we had our mattress on the floor. We didn't have our bed set up yet and everything the first night we stayed here. And
your brother just
it was
said.
Ken says he'll set up a tent on that point. That's right.
You got a
but
tour spot.
my brother is a mess. I'm telling y'all.
And you're not, but go ahead.
I didn't get it from him. But so I'm laying there. I generally don't have clothes on when I'm asleep at night.
Thank God I'm not there, but go ahead.
I woke up and it was like, I don't know, 5 minutes till 8 on a Sunday morning. I'm not thinking, we didn't have curtains up at the house yet. And so I stood up, and we've got, it's an old house. We've got windows that are like 10 feet tall. And I stood up at the foot of the bed, and I look out the window, and I look down, and there's a woman walking a Yorkie that's looking straight up at me. Like that. And I just stood there for a second, and I'm like, oh, shit, So, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be the mayor of West Point. If we're
No, you might definitely be now.
Well, that's what Brad's saying for mayor 2024.
Yeah.
That reminds me of when I was in.
She hasn't been seen since.
We were in New Orleans at a conference, and we had to go out to the pool area to smoke. And me and my friend were outside smoking. Everybody was partying, getting drunk. And so we're like, okay, where's our room? And we're looking up, and we're counting windows. About that time, we get to a window, and there's this naked man. He's got full Superman pose, looking out the window. And then he goes and sits in the chair. I look at my friend. I said, remind me not to sit in the office chairs in our rooms.
You haven't heard Todd's New Orleans man in the window story, have you?
I don't think I have. I haven't talked to Todd in a minute. He was doing helicopter.
You gotta get that story sometime. I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole, but you gotta get that. Just think about it.
Yeah.
There were 2 windows. Todd was standing in between them.
I'm sure he was.
Nope.
Ernie, you are dangerously close into being known for everything and anything but the paranormal.
I know it. Thank you. I just gotta come on here and say really nice things about the paranormal, give insights based on my experience and my experiences.
Well, you are.
And we always wind up going down these rabbit holes, and we're, there's nudity involved. And
maybe you need to pick better friends.
What's that?
Maybe you need to pick better friends.
Yeah. I need to be more choosy about what podcasts I go on, I guess.
Hey, I'm the innocent one here.
I know, Nick. I know. You're always
You are not.
You are
not. Your laughter encourages the rest of them.
No, we need to record that last podcast that we were doing with Nick that time.
You call our guests
Don't even
nasty
remind me.
names.
Don't even remind me.
You call our guests nasty names.
It was an accident.
None of us do that.
I should go back and grab that clip so I can do a Google review.
But anyway, let me talk about something real quick. I told y'all that we have the Todd and Beth, not Beth, she can't make it because she's going to be with her kids that weekend, but the Todd and Leanne, Denise, myself, and the one and only Squatch Man coming up to the fort for a public event. We put that out at what, like 10:30 at night, 11:30 at night before last. And we've already sold like 12 tickets. You know, it's not until August the 5th. And you know how paranormal event sales go. I mean, all of y'all have been involved with that. They typically don't sell until like the week of.
Yeah.
So
then you're panicking, going, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, we're not selling any tickets, and then boom, everybody starts buying them. You message me for tickets, Brad Webb. Yeah, anybody
Brad,
that's interested in
Your
coming
ass
to
ain't
that.
going nowhere anyway. Shut up.
Yeah, he's just blowing smoke. He won't show up. I know that. But no, I mean, this event is going to be really cool. Any of you that know Todd, Leanne, Denise, myself, and Squatch Man, I mean, when the five of us are together, stuff happens. I don't know if it's our energy, we just have that right frequency when we're all in there together. And if Beth was there, it'd be even another level.
So Beth would just get sucked into the toilet, but that's a different story.
Yeah, her soul gets sucked out of her butthole. Yeah, I've heard that story.
We were there.
I was there.
I
heard her say it the minute she uttered that. I heard her say that. I was standing 10 feet from her, and I was like, I still haven't recovered from that moment. But I mean, this night's going to be a good time. I mean, the fort, like I said, we never thought of it as a Bigfoot location. We thought, it's a Civil War location. It's probably got some Native American history to it, being that high peak at the confluence of two rivers. That would be a prime spot for Native American settlement. And God help him. My brother's single, y'all. If you're looking for somebody that is not spontaneous at all, that needs like a 4-hour preparation time to go get a freaking taco,
And he has to eat at the same time.
And has to eat at the same time every day because he syncs his medicine with the time that he eats, then contact my brother Ken Pack. He'd be a blast. But anyway, the more we've talked to people who, I mean, I got a good friend who I've known for many years that has always gone hiking up there, and she goes up there, takes photos and whatever, and just spends a lot of time up there at the fort before we started doing these paranormal investigations. She's coming to this event. She was telling me the other day, she said, yeah, there's everything up there. I mean, she said, I've never seen a Bigfoot, but I've been hiking on the trails there when you just feel something paralleling you in the woods and watching you. And I guess it probably could have been a Bigfoot. I don't know. But then I had Greg Bakken and Char Savoy up there, about a month ago when they were up there with Denise and I, and they saw had their first visual encounter with a Bigfoot up there. I mean, we do have a special event coming in September we can't talk about just yet that Todd and Leanne Eskew have invited us to. So we'll be talking about that soon.
Well, I know all of us have had the opportunity to investigate with all, 4 of y'all. And unfortunately, I've investigated with Todd and Leanne, yay, Todd, nay. But y'all are awesome investigators. y'all aren't scared to put out new things. You're doing it for you. You're not doing it for notoriety.
No.
I mean, you do things that you feel you need to do.
Right. We're not, how a lot of investigators, they go to a site, whatever location it might be, they spend 2 hours setting up cameras and audio equipment and all of those things. And their entire night is focused on capturing some evidence, something they can, post and put out there and get some clicks and some likes and some subscriptions or whatever. We're there for the experience. or to hear the stories of the spirits. You know, that's why we do it. We don't care if you like our evidence or not. You know, I mean, we don't put out bullshit. If you see us post a video or a photo or anything, audio, anything, we've already scrutinized it, because, you know, our first thing on anything that happens is to debunk it. So we've already scrutinized it ourselves.
Speaking of that, I do have a picture that somebody took and sent to you.
From the fort, yes.
Yep. Let me see which
I
one.
think
is
Denise
it?
mentioned that earlier.
Yeah. That was an amazing catch. Carrie Dolan snapped this picture. And we were just,
Oh, wow.
can you see the guy right there in the middle?
Yeah.
We were just up there showing them around the fort. We weren't investigating or anything, and they were just snapping pictures of the scenery up there. And there's that fella.
Look at that.
Pretty good catch. You know, during broad daylight, it was getting to be evening. You can see there's fog starting to set in.
Yeah.
But it wasn't dark by any means. And we were not investigating. We were, like I say, they were just snapping pictures, and caught that. So
What was interesting is that this picture, it does look like somebody walking down here, and it looks like they're in mid step because you can see the bottom of a shoe right here.
I was
Yeah.
about to say, I mean, based on what it also looks like it's wearing, because obviously it's a fort, it does actually, just from my point of view, does look like a soldier.
yeah. If I mean, the monitor I'm using right now, our main computer monitor, is a big screen TV, 1080p, high definition, very, very detailed. And when I look at that picture on my computer, you can see that it's got like blue jean colored pants, I guess, that color of blue. It's got a darker blue overcoat. You can see that he's got a strap going around his waist with like a rucksack hanging at his hip, and then a rifle slung over his shoulder. And if you look just above where that's the tree limb there, Jeremy. Go down by the boot you were talking about, where you can see the boot. If you look just above that, right, coming out at an angle, you can see where the rifle's
I
kind of.
could see it. Yeah. I didn't even notice that at first.
In high definition, I mean, there it's getting very pixelated and you can't really see the detail on it. But if you look at it in high definition, I mean, there is a lot of detail in that picture that tells you that that's a Union soldier with a rifle slung over his shoulder and a knapsack or whatever rolled up, hanging at his hip.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just cool.
Wow.
But I have thoughts every now and then, and Brad actually, I know, I mean, very rarely, but Brad looks taller than a person. Like, let's take Squatchman for a minute. Do y'all think that Sasquatch has any spirits? Any ones that have already passed could have spirits?
I think Sasquatch is a spirit.
You think it is a spirit?
I think it's an energy being. Not necessarily a spirit, but an energy being. And if you talk to Squatchman or hear him talk about it, he goes into a lot of detail about how he's come to that belief. And I can tell you that Denise and I, Todd and Leanne, have been in the woods with him. We have seen them cloak. We've seen them go from being a flesh and blood classic Bigfoot like you see in the Patterson Gimlin footage, from 1967. Yeah, Brad was there. He's seen it. But we've seen him cloak. We've seen him go from that flesh and blood thing to what looks like in the movie Predator, when you see Predator going through the woods.
I'm not. I do want to go
vapor-like image.
I do want to go squatching with y'all, but I've never really been do a lot of research on it. Because I let the other half, the worst half of me, I let him do all that research. But so that's why I haven't really invested a lot of time in it.
Do you want me to do a Nick Files episode for Bigfoot?
Just get in the woods and experience it. researching, you're going to hear a
I'm
lot of people
going-
that are apers talk about it, and they
I mean,
just
one day I'm going to go with y'all. That way you can't run away from me.
all right then.
I was trying to say, Eileen, do you want me to do an episode of Nick Files? Because since it's an educational show, I can do one on Bigfoot so you can understand.
That way
Do
I don't
it.
have to research. There you go.
Yes, do it because I'd like to know too.
No,
I do
I'm
enough
actually.
research on historical places and all that. So yeah, so I don't have to research something.
I know you guys won't be able to see this, but I'm actually kind of comprising a list because eventually I do want to kind of branch out and do other stuff, including different types of cryptids. I got this whole list right here, a lot of them, more probably some of you guys have never even heard of before.
Yeah, I'd like to know a whole lot more because that's something. I mean, obviously, it takes your whole energy to try to figure out spirits and what you're doing there. So you kind of take somebody else's word for other things that they're doing themselves interested in or whatever. But living in Colorado, I think that's something I probably should learn a little bit about because I have no doubt they're right here. Maybe not in town, but
maybe though.
You have
where
your
we go
own
fishing, they're there. I mean,
Well,
I have no
believe it.
doubt they're there.
Believe me, you actually have your own version of Bigfoot in Colorado, except over there it's called the Colorado Snow Beast.
We the night that we went squatching, was it the night that Brad was with us? The night that we went squatching and Brad and Kara or Kenna, I'm sorry, and Kelly came down. We were with Squatchman. Greg and Shar were there. We got home. Greg and Shar went out of town the next day. Well, the next night, I was walking through the house, and it was in an area of the house that we had not finished cleaning yet. It was actually the same door that had slammed that I had in the other video. Denise just sent Jeremy a photo that we took in that threshold of that door. That is looks by all intents and purposes looks like a Bigfoot track in the dust in that doorway. It is a huge, I mean, I stood there next to it. I mean, it is, I wear a size 13, 14 shoe, depending on what kind of shoe it is. It was bigger than my foot by a long shot. I feel like Bigfoot, being an energy being, they might just follow you home just like a spirit does. And I think that might have happened. I mean, if Jeremy's got that picture, he could show everybody. There's nothing there for a comparison of size, but I can tell you that the foot was probably about that wide.
Wow.
You can't see the whole foot, but you can see the toes and like the ball of the foot in the track. And, that was an area of the house that, like I say, we hadn't finished cleaning yet. We weren't walking around there barefoot. I mean, none of us really go downstairs barefoot, except for maybe my son sometimes, but he doesn't go to that part of the house because it's nowhere near the kitchen. He's either in his room, the bathroom, or the kitchen usually, and unless he's going in or out of the house. He's a teenager. That's how they roll.
I do want to bring this picture up here because this is where that picture came from. You guys are not that far from this.
No,
when the picture was taken.
No, and we never saw it. I mean, they didn't know it until the next day when we got the picture sent to us, and we were like, "Whoa, that's pretty cool."
What's this here?
What the hell is that?
Base of a tree back there. I'll have to go and try to look at that because I never noticed that myself. If you look, the tree that's closest to us, right next to Denise there, you look over to the side of it. You see that? It looks like a Civil War soldier with a beard leaning back there, peeking around.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, that's pretty compelling. Well, we went up there the next day and snapped some pictures. That's a tree stump. I was really disappointed because, I mean, that's a good looking catch, but we were able to debunk that part of it. But if you look at it right there, I mean, I can see a guy.
Because you can see the beard. There's a beard right there. Wearing a hat. That's very convincing.
And
Yeah.
that's what matters is somebody takes the time to go back out there and go, let's see.
Yeah.
And those are the people that I follow. Those are the people that I go, okay. So if they said they caught something, they probably did.
Yeah.
Not, oh yeah, well, we caught this. Look, what do you see?
Right. I
Well,
mean,
what did you see? I mean,
right. I love to have evidence that I can show somebody, but I'm not going to take every,
Yep.
droplet of moisture or particle of dust that shows up in a photograph and say, hey, look, we caught some paranormal evidence. And even something like that look, there you go. There's that footprint. Now you can't
Oh,
really,
Wow.
yeah. Wow.
Twice as wide.
it's about twice as wide as my foot. And like I say, I wear a size 13 or 14 shoe.
Well, you can tell it's pretty big because these here are normally 1 square foot. Right?
Yeah, I think that's just 1/4 of it right there.
Yeah.
I gotta
That's-
ask. I gotta ask this because I'm looking at. Is there 5 toes? I can't see. Can't see.
Yeah, there's
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
I
there's
see
5.
that.
I was counting that.
Here's,
Joel.
here's the big toe. 1, 2, 3, 4 more.
Okay.
And like I say, I mean, that showed up the day after we had been in the forest and had some activity with Sasquatch. And I never thought of it as, I just saw a footprint there and snapped a picture, and then I showed it to Denise, and she's like, wow, that's pretty big. And so we walked down there and looked at it, and I was like, oh yeah, gosh, it is pretty big. I didn't even think of it being big when I saw it. I was just like, why is there a footprint here?
Real quick, Adrian's electricity went out, so that's why she's gone.
Okay.
She
So
just
you
missed.
said
She'll
there's
be back on when she can.
there's a cemetery or graves and all that at the fort. Have y'all done any investigations near that? Or
Yeah.
is that where that is?
Yeah, that's the fort. That the picture that you saw there that Jeremy had up earlier, that is taken from the top of the fort wall, looking down over where the guys would have been standing and watching for the enemy to approach. The cemetery is around on another ridge, probably about 400, 500 yards away from there. And that is where Greg and Shar saw the Bigfoot. That is where,
Talking about this.
yeah, the cemetery would be, if you can,
That's the.
there's another ridge. See, if you look on the far right side of the picture there, how it dips down and then starts to go back up.
Yeah.
The cemetery is up on that next point, up from there. But anyway, that's where we've had the Bigfoot activity. We've also seen shadow figures up there at the cemetery, but that's where, I mean, everybody that has talked about having a Bigfoot experience there so far, that's where they've had their Bigfoot experience as well. So it's pretty interesting. I mean, like I say, we were never expecting Bigfoot there. We weren't, that wasn't why we started doing investigations up there or why we were inviting folks to come and do their own investigations up there. But apparently it's there. So it's one more reason to come and check out the fort.
Tell us a little bit about West Point, because we everybody has heard of West Point at some point. You're very close to Fort Knox, and I'm taking a look at the population, and you said you're at 800 and something right now.
Yeah, like 840, I believe was the last number I heard.
Okay, at its peak, as far as I can tell, was in 1960. It was at 1957, 1,900 people. So what happened?
Well, there was a large brickyard that was right over at the base of the hill that the fort was on, that employed a lot of folks. They made a lot of bricks here in West Point. Actually, we got bricks out in our front walkway that say Myers West Point. That was the brickworks that was right over there, and it employed a lot of people. Cosmos cement plant is right up the road. A lot of folks that worked at Cosmos cement plant were living here in West Point. Flooding is a problem for West Point. Has been in the past. I mean, right here at the confluence of these two rivers, the town has flooded several times over the years. And the last decent flood that they had was 1997. And it came during a time when the city was actually kind of on the upswing as far as revenue and businesses and things like that. Well, that flood shut the town down for pretty much a year. And it never has really recovered. But when the brickyard shut down, a lot of folks left town at that point. Fort Knox used to be the home of armor, which it's also, I mean, Fort Knox basically wraps around town. You got rivers on one side of West Point, and the rest of the border of West Point is Fort Knox property all the way around. And Fort Knox used to be a huge military base with a lot of soldiers stationed there. And so a lot of them that were stationed there lived in West Point. Well, they've moved the home of armor down to Texas now, and most of the tank training is done there. And Fort Knox's population has gone down, and so has West Point.
So during your, how many times have you gone to the fort and just kind of just went on your own doing stuff? A lot or very little?
Since we've moved here, Denise and I have gone up there probably once or twice a week.
Okay, so a lot.
Over the past month or so, just to try to feel it out and get our own, have our own experiences and get comfortable up there.
Have y'all found anything like from the military and all the casings or anything like that?
We haven't, but there are a lot of artifacts that have been recovered.
That's the word I was looking for. It couldn't come out of my mouth.
Yeah.
It was a big word. I couldn't say it, Brad.
I know. I'm sorry. You're a Mississippi girl. I get it. But no, there's a lot of artifacts that have been recovered from up there. There's some down at the History Museum, which is just 3 or 4 blocks down the road.
Ernie, are you the big brother or the little brother?
He's the big brother.
So you are not a good little brother.
He's the oopsie baby.
Yeah, I'm the baby.
I was the oops.
Well, Lisa, you can't metal detect on city-owned property. That's against the law. You have to have special permits to do that kind of thing.
And if you find certain things, you have to turn it in too, don't you?
Yeah. Anything you find metal detecting on public ground like that. I was not adopted, Kenny.
He wishes you were adopted out, is what it is. He wishes you were given.
Jeremy, can you boot him from the chat?
No, I like him. Put him on top because I like him.
Don't send him a link. Whatever
Yeah, let's bring him in.
I could, Ernie, but then this whole thing wouldn't be as much fun as it is.
It
now.
would probably
Right.
become a disaster.
Ken, you are my
So why would I remove him when we're having so much fun watching him dish you?
Yeah. Thanks.
Ken is my new best friend.
Golly. He could be your dad, Eileen. He was
That's right.
stationed in
He
Biloxi
can
for a while.
still be my best friend.
Well, no, actually, no. Yeah, he has a point because he could be your dad, because you're only 24.
Look, Ernie could be my granddaddy.
That's enough out of you.
Yes, granddaddy.
Funny, I want to go back to when you were talking about the area flooding, because you are right there between the two rivers. Is there any flood damage that's still there in your house?
Our house, well, you can tell the upstairs, the floors like in this room and all of the upstairs are made of cypress wood that actually came it's pretty kind of a cool story. When the house was being built, it was built in 1841. They got a really good deal on this cypress wood. Here's how. Merchant ship came up from New Orleans that was built. Todd, boot Todd from the chat too.
Normally I would agree with you, but I can't right now. He's asking.
Anyway, a merchant ship made of cypress wood came up the river from New Orleans. They sold all their goods here. They still had not met their contract and made enough money off of the sale of their goods to satisfy the merchant that they were working for. So he ordered that they disassemble the boat and sell the boards that the boat was made of. And that's what the floors in the house were made of when they built this house, which is kind of a cool story in and of itself. But if you go downstairs, you'll see that the flooring down there is only about 85 years old or so. It's not the same old wood. That's because the 1937 flood got all the way up to the second floor landing of this house and destroyed the floors down on the first floor. But
it sounds like in 2027 you might need to up your flood insurance because everything.
Yeah, it's about every 30 years. I mean, we had one in 37, we had one in 67, we had one in 97. I mean, it's been pretty darn consistent. I mean, you hear about the 30-year flood and the 100-year flood and all that, and it's been pretty darn consistent here in West Point with 30-year floods. So we'll see what happens this time around. But flood control has gotten a lot better over the years. We've actually had more situations where we had more rain over a certain period of time than even during the 1937 flood, and didn't get any flooding at all here. Because flood control has gotten so much better over the years.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that parts of the ship was used for your house. So it makes me wonder if there's any energy attached to that wood.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I mean, you throw that in, the fact that the house was at times it was used as a Civil War hospital. It's, one of the floors has got blood stains on it. This room, there was a man murdered in this room. We call this the murder room.
Supposedly, that's my room.
Yeah, this is your room, Eileen.
That is dark.
Maybe someone will give me some ideas with you.
Yeah. Come on up, Eileen. You got 2 rivers back there to get rid of you. But
what you just said, Renee, I just couldn't help but think of that song, Come On, Eileen. That's your song to lure her in.
You keep saying that, Ernie, with the 2 rivers right there. Were those with the 2 rivers, or with there being 2 right there, were there more missing people in your area that?
Yeah, actually, this area is where a lot of people are found that have gone missing because they wash up here. I mean, it happens.
So Denise will be in the backyard one day, and someone.
Yeah, and here comes Fred floating down, floaty Fred coming down the river.
Oh boy, I can imagine that happening.
Yeah, who knows, Robert? I mean, I don't know the history of that boat. I'd like to find. That might be something that, over time I dig into finding out the story of that boat a little bit further and who the people were on it, and then seeing if them.
They'll come talk to Denise. If they're there, they'll come talk to Denise.
Oh, yeah. They will.
Do you know when's the last time a body has washed up on?
What was it? Last summer or summer before last. There was a young lady. There was a group of young people that were out on a boat. We had a big fireworks show here for the Derby Festival that we have every year called Thunder Over Louisville. And because of COVID, they had, instead of everybody doing it down on the shoreline, they said, they were just going to light the fireworks out on the river, and you could come out on the river and watch if you wanted, instead of having a big congregation of people on the river shore. And this boatload of young people slammed into a barge, and several of them died. One girl, they didn't find her for a week or so, and then they found her right down over the hill back over here. She was 21.
Jeez. Oh,
Pretty sad
man.
story.
Yeah. And that does bother me sometimes with what we do, but at least we do it to give other people answers or to finish someone's story for them.
Right.
Just, I mean,
I try
every,
to stay away from, I try to give a mourning period,
right, a
know,
period of time to before you start.
and I mean, that can vary, but we have not tried to communicate with her. And
You mean,
and
Ernie,
we
you mean to tell me that you did not just get on YouTube and say, oh, look,
Oh, yeah,
I'm
here-
going to talk to the people that just died
Yeah,
in the...
I'm having a
Oh,
conversation
yeah,
with
yeah, you
the
got-
folk from the submarine. Yeah.
Adrian, I think you already know I think I already know what you're talking about.
Yep.
It's kind of in reference to what I posted.
I
Yes.
can't. I can't.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy needs to be just silenced. He needs to just,
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
I
And
was-
then they wonder
anybody
why
that
we get a bad
subscribes to
name.
his nonsense and follows him or promotes him, they're just as
I
bad
was-
as he is.
I was just basically infuriated, and I lost it that day. That's why I thought, you know what, enough is enough. So I'm not really that kind of person that will like share and like give someone a bad name. But if this is someone who's like giving all of us a bad name in this field, it needs to be dealt with. So
And
I
that's
just
what
lost
Zach
it.
The problem is by
Right.
doing something like that, that's going to
Yeah.
make people want to go and check them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, certain TV shows
Mhm.
that are always taunting and talking shit basically to the spirits.
Yeah.
I can tell you from all of the investigations I've hosted at Waverly over the years,
Yeah.
you got a lot of new paranormal investigators that have adopted that same style.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I've seen it. And I try to tell them, look, that's not how we do things. You don't do that here. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm actually
And you're not going to get legit evidence because that show is not legit.
I'm actually
or those shows are not legit.
I'm actually at some point later this year. I haven't really planned out exactly when, but I actually might be going back to my old high school because, as some of you guys know, I started a paranormal club at that school, which is still running to this day.
Really?
That's
Yes.
awesome.
I actually started back when I was 14 in 2007, and it's still running to this day. And for years I've been trying to get back out there so I could see how the club's running and also kind of explain, because understandably, if there's a club that's running, there's obviously going to be, even if it's not many, there's going to be some new that's literally your start of a new generation of paranormal investigators right there.
Yeah.
And I want to basically kind of explain
On that one sometime.
what's
They
that?
need to be mentored.
What, Jeremy?
I would actually like to accompany you. when
You know what? I'm actually looking for a few folks to come out because I'm not really I don't know really how to start, when you're the only speaker there, but it would be
Obviously, you did it right. You started a club that's lasted this long, so you.
And
did
when
something
you
right.
walk in there, you need to say, look, I started this in whatever year. And when I started this, I'm still going.
Yeah.
And this is not, you may see this on TV, you may see this on TV, but this is not how this really works unless you would like to be sick and hurt.
That's exactly what I have the intent. What my plan is when I have that chance. I mean, understandably, I can't do it now since it's summer vacation. But my goal is to try to go there at least twice. Like the first time, just go in, don't have to say anything, just kind of sit in the back and observe how it is. And then next time they have another meeting is when I go in and I explain, who I am and all the important things that these kids in this day and age should learn and know the reality of investigations, because they're going to be often fooled like thinking, wow, things go on like every 5 minutes. No, that's not the case at all. It's a waiting game.
Well,
Do
speaking
they have a
Brad,
page or a
sweetheart.
website or anything?
I'm sorry, what, Jeremy?
Do they have a page or a website or anything?
Surprisingly, as long as this club has been running, they don't have. Well, I think they have a page on the school website now, but it doesn't really. It's nothing.
Right.
It's nothing like majorly special. It just talks about the club itself. But unfortunately, actually, when I was still in high school, we were planning on launching a website, but unfortunately, that never came to fruition. As much as back Well, she doesn't work there anymore, so I think it's safe for me to say this. Unfortunately, I had a really bad sponsor that didn't really know what she was doing. I think I could have done it far better than she could because every time I came up with an idea for something, she's like, "Oh no, we got to do that. I don't think we could do that." Like, even to this day, she still frustrates me.
She's trying to be politically correct, and a lot of you have to have. I mean, like thinking back, I wasn't in the paranormal when I had kids, really young. So thinking back, if they wanted to be in a club like that, you have to be real careful about what you teach them and what you do. And I'm sure that teacher was trying to be on the politically correct side, saying, "Oh no, we can't tell them this. We can't. No. Don't."
Well,
don't
no, it wasn't. It wasn't the subject matter that was the issue. I mean, I don't think there was any issue at all. I just think she did not have that much experience as a sponsor should have been. So it was more of, I think it was just more of her opinion than an actual school opinion.
And I think it's really strange because when we go back, like my father-in-law, he is up there. We'll put it that way. And he took a course in college on paranormal. They used to do things like that way back when. He did a course and he was like, I've always been interested since, but in the courses back then, they would teach them meditation. They would teach them, things like that. They didn't teach them how to go talk to spirits. They taught them, well, they did, but not in a way like we do now.
Well, the field has evolved so much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's gotten, in my opinion, it's gotten way too techy.
Yes.
I do like the scientific approach, like particularly what Brandon Alvis is pursuing with haunted discoveries and that kind of thing.
Yes.
But I think that it's gotten away from the metaphysical aspects of it way too far.
Mm-hmm.
You guys probably heard me say it before. I've been told by people that were directing me to lead investigations, I was told to separate the metaphysical from the paranormal. And I'm like,
how do you do that? How?
You can't do that. I mean,
you can't.
Without the metaphysical, the paranormal is normal.
Right.
Hey, Ernie, real quick.
Yes.
I would say not to interrupt, but to interrupt real quick.
You are interrupting.
He's still watching?
Yeah.
Oh,
guys.
We don't need,
oh my gosh.
We don't need a weasel.
Oh, that's a ferret.
That's what I was going to say. That looks like a ferret.
They are so sweet. I love ferrets.
He's gone blind.
Oh, he is.
Well, having to look at you all the time, he's probably lucky.
How old is he?
9.
That's still pretty young for a ferret.
How long
to
do
go
they
blind.
live?
About 10, 11 years.
Oh.
This is Jaws.
They make great scarves when you are cold, Ernie.
I had to show Denise because he was up. I had to show Denise.
Yeah,
we actually had one at the pound when we went and got our dog. There was one there at the pound, and if that ever happens again, it will come home.
This was we had 3. This is the only one we have left.
I remember when one of yours passed about 2 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Whoa.
Check it out.
There's the little naked guy.
Look, Joyce.
Hey, little naked dude.
This is Harry.
Harry, okay.
Hair.
That was the first one you got, right?
Yeah. And we got his brother Shaggy too. Harry,
now all you're missing is his birds on screen.
Another little deformed rat. You see it? You see the other deformed rat?
He's looking at you.
Guys, there's something I got to
before it poops on me.
Where's his clothes? He used to have clothes.
It's too.
Now is Adrian's tarantula.
No, we don't need no damn spiders. No.
No, we really don't. I'm waiting for this one to just pass away.
I will never have a pet cockroach. No.
I want a Madagascar.
Those are actually kind of cool.
Oh, Denise has got pictures of her kissing Madagascar hissing cockroaches.
What? Seriously?
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever told you, but I used to raise the Dubai, whatever roaches. I used to raise those to feed my lizards.
Yeah.
Or breed those, not raise them, but breed them.
When I was a teenager, I had a lot of doobie roaches.
So you're
In
telling
my
me that Denise has kissed the hissing cockroaches?
Yeah. She's
God
weird.
help her.
Actually,
Yeah.
my stepdaughter Darby was so sweet to me for my birthday, wasn't it?
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
Christmas. It was Christmas.
My Christmas
Okay.
present from my stepdaughter Darby was she paid money to adopt a Madagascar hissing cockroach and name
Oh,
it Ernie
shit.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Ernie, what?
at the zoo in Knoxville.
Nothing
And-
wrong with that.
Tell me that.
You
Okay.
could go to the petting area of the zoo in Knoxville and you could pet Ernie, the hissing cockroach.
Nothing wrong
Okay,
with that.
And then they fed it to a lizard. And
That's like-
I got a death certificate for Ernie.
Okay.
Male.
I
So
used
Oh.
to have a bearded dragon, a water dragon, and I still have my 3 leopard geckos, my 3 cats, and a dog.
I gotta ask,
No
what the hell
snakes?
are? I'm scared to ask, but what the hell are doobie roaches? I've heard of the Doobie Brothers, but never doobie roaches.
Nick. No, we will discuss this at a later date.
This
No,
Yeah,
no.
they're about that big.
What?
No, sorry, he woke up and he never wakes up during a show, so he woke up, so I had to show Denise my other baby.
Nick,
She's over
you
there.
remember
snuggling
my
with him.
in-laws? What we discuss about my in-laws all the time?
Yes.
Same thing.
Okay. It's still illegal.
Okay
in
then.
Not Colorado.
Look, your other
No,
baby.
it is very legal here. We sit out on our
Yeah.
front porch and go, "Want some?"
It is what I like, making rolling trays.
But anyway,
I make the rolling trays. Yeah.
Lord help me. Hold on, let me read this.
Oh, geez, I did not even see that.
It just popped up.
Greg Childers. Okay.
Billy.
Okay.
I'm reading it all. Hang on.
And while you're reading that, guys, Jeremy, when we were just talking about my paranormal club, there's actually an online article I just found on it. Never seen
Is
it
good or
before.
bad?
Yeah.
It's good.
I agree with what Chili's saying there. There is a technical method. Hello, T-Dog. There is a technical method to getting good results through tech. I mean, you can do it, but you have to have basically a placebo. I mean, you got to have all of these other comparisons. And
What just happened?
if you're out to simply advance the field with your research and I don't know, convince skeptics of the validity of paranormal activity, then all that stuff is real important. And I can't argue with it. But for us, it's about the experiences and the stories that we get through the paranormal. And I'm not a tech guru by any means. I mean, I have a hard time, making a phone call and checking my email at the same time. I can't, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not into all the tech stuff. I like to go into a location and feel it before I break out any gadgets at all. I just feel the energy of the location and look and listen, sit there quietly in the dark and see what happens. And then once things start to happen, I might decide, oh, this might be a good place to put out a Melmeter or a REM pod or something like that.
That's one thing I found. And you all know, you've all been here when I got in the field. You were all there long before I was. And that was one thing I was like, got to get evidence. No, I'm
Nope.
done with that. No, I don't. Like,
Right.
I
Right,
can go
Robert.
in. I don't need to prove that to anyone. Anyone that knows me knows I'm not going to lie about it. I'm not going to, and I'll say, I don't know what I saw. I don't know what I heard, but this is what it was. And if it fits with the story, great. If it doesn't, great. When I first go in, like there was we went to the motel up here at Jeremy. What is it?
Stanley.
Yes.
Stanley Hotel.
Okay, Estes Park.
Yeah.
You got it all the first night.
Why do I
I've
always
always-
go into a blank space whenever it comes to that?
Because I've always been against it, because there's so many things that people just make up, or the spirits are done. I mean, they don't want it to, they're done.
You know
And I
nothing
found
about
when
that.
I went there, they are done. They don't give a crap if you're up there to talk to them or not. It has nothing to do with that. But there was a guy that took a picture of the staircase and got a picture of a little boy's face in that mirror. Nobody was there. And we were able to see it from all angles where nobody was there.
Right.
I was like, broad daylight, that's really cool. We got nothing the rest of the night. Absolutely nothing. And I said, guys, they're done. They are so tired of people coming up here going, do you hear me? Come prove you're here. They're done.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I mean, I have spent so much time at Waverly Hills, and you guys know how I feel about Waverly Hills. It's always going to be in here. I'm always going to love that place. Never going to have a bad thing to say about it. I don't care what happens. I mean, I had bad things to say about the people that used to run it when they kicked Tina and Charlie out. But as far as that place,
But the place is different. It's different.
But I've been in that place. It is the most active place I've ever been in my life, and I've been all over the country. But I've been in there plenty of times when absolutely nothing happened for days at a time. You know, I mean,
they're done.
They'll
They're
talk to you
tired.
when they're ready to talk to you.
and then there's, you can go for a week and have absolutely nothing, and then go the next night and it just be off the freaking chain the whole night, with doors slamming, disembodied voices, you name it. And I mean, you can't, it's like fishing. I always say this, it's like going out and fishing. You got your favorite fishing hole where you always catch fish. Then you go one day and you don't catch any. You go again,
That's how
don't catch
exactly
any.
I pictured it. Yes.
But then you go back again, a couple days later, and you might catch the hell out of them again. I mean, it's the same thing.
I think we can't predict who's in there. We can't predict their energy. We don't know what they're like. But I think when you go in with a whole bunch of people, one may have the energy of bad intentions, or thinking, you know what, screw these things. This isn't even real. And they may not want to talk to people like that. And you may get a personal experience because you're open and you're like, I don't want to harm you. If you're here, you're here. If you want to talk to me, you talk to me. If not, that's fine. It's okay.
Yep.
And, and I think I'm kind of up in the air about that, going back to the Abbey, because the people that we were there with, I don't know who had what intentions. I know one person saw something they never wanted to see. And the rest of us smelled something we never wanted to smell. Was it demonic? No, probably not. It was probably just something saying, go away.
Right.
I actually I might have told this story before, but there was actually when I was helping out with the ghost tours for Chicago, we actually had some people that were basically being disrespectful at one of these places, because we're taking them on a tour. And at one point we went to this, I think it might have been a cemetery. It was somewhere out like in a plain field, I guess. I'm not really sure how to describe it. And I'm actually walking with my friend Tom McNicholas, because he was helping out on this tour. And as we're walking, we hear some people behind us, so we couldn't help but hear what they were saying. It's like, man, I paid so much money for this shit. We haven't seen anything like this. Like, when the hell is something gonna happen? And I'll be honest, I was almost ready to just turn around and say, well, you know what? If you guys don't like what you're going, you might as well just stay on the bus until we head back.
Yeah.
And for the record for him, I would have said, that's the reality of paranormal investing. Sometimes things happen, sometimes things don't.
Mm-hmm.
You can't guarantee. There's no guarantee.
Well, with all that, Ernie, so you're just opening this up for more paranormal investigations and all, how is the town taking it? With it being a small town.
Well, that was something I was really nervous about. And the first couple of meetings I went to with the Friends of Fort Duffield, I would start talking about the paranormal, and I would watch all of these mostly older people turn and look at me and just kind of sit back and listen. And, I guess that's part of just being new in town, because since then, I showed that picture that Jeremy put up on screen earlier that Carrie had caught, and I showed him that. And now I go to those meetings and people are wanting to talk to me. I think this being a small town, this is a haunted town. Like I said, there's so much history here. There's so many stories of the hauntings of this town. I mean, there's books written about it. But it's one of them small towns where people don't like to talk about stuff to outsiders. And I was considered an outsider before.
Right.
Now I'm starting to realize that, I'm part of town and I'm not going anywhere. And so they're opening up a little bit more. T-Dog's talking about that photo that was caught when he was up there a few weeks ago.
That's Brad.
It takes time to get the trust of small town people, but they're starting to warm up to it, and they see the potential to help save the fort and restore some of the things that are falling apart that are up there. And so they seem really anxious for us to have some success with what we're doing.
Not to say introduce the paranormal to them, because I'm sure they've been, but since they do have a more pronounced investigator there, because I don't know if there's ever been a paranormal investigator living in town. Do you find where people you find more people now saying, come to my town, come to my house, check this out. I mean, we all get that, but
it's validation. They're looking for validation.
I'll tell you this, okay? Funny story that, I found it funny, but, at the same time, I just sat there and went like this. But I was talking to the mayor, and I was talking to the mayor, and he said, yeah, we had a couple of people on the city council that were kind of concerned about things when we first threw this proposal at them for a vote. And he said, my response to them was, look, we've got the opportunity to have a guy that is world renowned.
Oh.
How can we pass up this kind of expertise and knowledge?
So we can call you Mr. Expert Pack now.
And you know what else we could do? We could vote you for mayor for 2024. You got another ticket up to get in that position.
Okay, his brother must be gone because his brother's not commenting on this.
The mayor's already telling me that when he's done with his term, it's all mine. He's already told me that.
But the thing is, though, you're looking for somebody. I mean, they may not know who people are, but when you can talk to somebody, and most people, whether you want to think so or not, are empathic to a point. Mm-hmm. And they can see whether somebody's sincere or whether they're money hungry. So, that part helps. But to be able to say, I've done this, and I've done this in Waverly, and I've done this outside of Waverly, and here's my evidence. You can see it here. You can see it here, whatever you want to do. But, it makes a huge difference in the paranormal field. It makes a huge difference in the paranormal field. Like, we sit here and watch other people's evidence. We may not say anything about it or anything else, but we're watching. And we know, okay, this person, we know that they tried to debunk. We know that they tried to get rid of any other. So when they put it out, we know it's serious. And then we know the ones that put out just anything in the world and go, what do you see? What I see is you blew up a picture, and any of us can figure out, what we see. And if you blow a picture up big enough, I don't care if it's of someone's penis, you're going to see a ghost. It's just going to happen. I mean, that's the reality of pictures.
I know some of them you have to
Nick,
still
you,
be looking hard for.
Nick, we didn't say boobies. You're okay.
No, I need to be the steel.
We did
See,
not
here we
say
go.
boobies. You're fine.
Rabbit hole.
Here we go. Lord help me.
I knew it was going to happen at some point today that Nick was going to mute himself. I just knew it was going to happen.
At least he didn't follow the chair this time. Yeah.
Yes.
We
Yes.
still got 20 minutes left of the show.
Rich.
So time.
But also,
Right.
on the other side of that, we know Ernie. Most people in the field know Ernie.
I don't
Whether
know,
it's-
Ernie.
Eileen, you don't know nobody. Just shush. But, it's a matter of we know. So we know how you treated Waverly. We know you got to the bottom of Waverly with the investigators, not just what you thought it was, not just what history thought it was, but you, along with the investigators, got to the bottom of what really happened.
Right.
And so most of us know you're going to do the same with this. So when there's ticket sales, when there's an opportunity to go, anybody who's serious about the paranormal is going to say, you know what? They're going to take into account what we get. They're going to be there with us. They're going to know this is serious of what we got, so we can help put the story together, and they can have a little piece of, I helped put this story together. I helped with it. And know that you will take it seriously when somebody gets that. So,
And I'm not saying this because
I don't know what I don't know what he said. I don't know what Todd means by that.
I think he thinks that Ernie's going to get a big head. I'm not real sure, but
Well, let's go ahead and give him a full screen.
there we go. We can have the full screen. We have
Wow.
no
I'm
problem
going to
with
say
that.
this, and I'm actually about to be nice to Ernie.
Uh-oh.
If anyone on here has never met Ernie, Denise, Todd, Leanne, I said this a few minutes ago. They're great investigators, and you can learn stuff no matter how many years you've been in the field. There's always something new to learn that people
There
have
is.
experimented with and it's worked.
There is.
And they're willing to show you stuff that they've tried that's worked.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're great people to, no matter how seasoned or unseasoned you are, they're great people to be with. So anytime they do have events, I highly recommend going. I mean, as much as I don't want to admit I like them, you know what?
It's a guarantee that you're going to laugh above all else.
Well, and I mean,
Our number one rule has always been that the guests are going to have fun.
but yes, but when you
Don't show Beth
investigate,
coming.
they're serious when they need to be.
What?
They really are serious when they need to be.
Yep.
And they do have the utmost respect for the spirits.
And yeah, because
Okay, enough of me being nice to Ernie. That was all you got.
Okay.
we
all
were
right.
That's
Jeremy-
a historic moment, Eileen.
Jeremy,
What the,
stay
what
back.
the hell are you talking about, Beth?
We're talking about
how long
him
was
saying-
it before? Let's see, Ernie. It wasn't long after. I think we were one of the very last crews that went before all shit hit the fan. And we got to actually do.
Maybe 6 weeks before.
Okay. Okay. Well,
I think toward the end of July.
I'm really proud that we were one of the last ones that got to do it. And that was my first time ever doing it, other than the haunted house.
Yeah.
On Halloween when I lived there. But in a haunted house, you're not going to see anything. You're going to see the attractions, and that's all fine and great. And that's what we went for. But,
Right.
Denise and Ernie, you could not have asked for they made you feel like you can walk up to them and say, hey, do you feel like this happened? Or I heard this, or I saw this. Does this fit with anything that you know anything about?
Right.
And they didn't. And this is the same as the Abbey. He won't tell you anything. And he'll say, look, this is a history I know. And the history is like 100 years ago. And he'll say, this is what I know. What you get, you can come talk to me after it's over. And I'll tell you what I know and if it fits with anything that we know. And that's the first thing I thought of was Ernie and Denise when he said that. Was because, okay, now I know he's serious. He's not trying to put on some show. He sat up there in his little, thank you. He sat up there in his little studio and he moved it. He would send it to Twitch and everybody would watch other investigations go on. Now, we watched a bunch of people run out. We watched one person go, I ain't scared of nothing. Me and my kid can do anything. And we watched the same two, father and son, go, please go get the cameras for me because I'm not going back down there. Okay.
I remember that.
I told that dude, I said, honey, I would have kept them damn cameras if they didn't go down and get them because that is not your responsibility.
Right.
But either way, you know who's serious and you know who really wants to know the spirits around them.
Well, like Todd and Leanne, I'm sure all y'all do it, but showed me the 360 method. Never would have thought of doing that. And now I do it. Oh, gosh, I'm just going to give Todd credit. Never would have ever thought about doing that.
Okay, explain. I'm not sure I know what you're
I'll
talking
let
about.
you explain it, Ernie.
Okay. 360 EVP is where you come up with a question. Okay. Let's say, Adrian, you decide, okay, you're going to say, how did you really die? That's your question, right? So we start running a recorder. Adrian asks that question. We wait about 7-8 seconds. Jeremy asks that same question. 7 or 8 seconds, Nick asks. Come on around me, Eileen, whoever else is in the group. Everybody asks the same question, giving time for a response to come through. And the theory behind it is they might not respond to the tone of my voice. They might not respond to the tone of Nick's voice.
They may not like Ernie.
They might be disgusted by the tone of Eileen's voice. But they might want to answer Jeremy. We have gotten some incredible, and I think Eileen's witnessed it herself in her own investigations, incredible responses doing it that way. Whereas, a normal EVP session, you sit around and you'll say something like that, and then, you wait a couple seconds and you move right on to the next question and go on. Well, we do those in like burst sessions, one question at a time, where we ask a question, everybody in the group asks the same question, we play it back. And
I actually like that idea.
Happen to
I
interact
do
with
too.
your energy, boom, you get a response.
I had never heard
you
of
find out
that,
who the
but
spirit wants to talk
Adrian,
to.
let's do that at the end.
let's do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have not heard
Let's
of
do
that,
it.
but that is an awesome idea.
I like
Yeah.
it too.
There's another thing that I want to do to inflate Ernie's head.
Oh, God.
Oh, God, please don't.
So
Yes, Adamsville Rectory.
it was actually during that tour when he was giving Adrian, when he was giving you guys that tour that first night. I only caught part of that, and the one part I did catch was for the lady that was on the second floor whose picture ended up getting stolen.
Yes.
He took you guys there and he said, okay, now this is what the story had been going around. And in our research, this is what we actually found out. So I like that he explained what everybody knew that said that is not true. This is what happened.
Yeah, and there's actually more to her story that we don't tell the public because we don't want it to get exploited. I mean, I think that it's our job as investigators, first off, to be their voice, but secondly, to protect them from being exploited in certain ways.
Right.
or having people who might have seen the TV shows and adopted that type of style of investigating to go in there and then start harassing them with questions that deal on a very personal level with something
Right.
they might not want to talk about.
Right.
It's almost like that doctor-patient confidentiality.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Jeremy know who this Facebook user is? I think I might know who that is. When he brought up Saddamsville Rectory. It's in Cincinnati, Ohio. Yeah, it's Dave Wismer.
And before that's Dave Wismer.
Yeah, I figured that was Dave. Yeah.
So
See you, Dave.
Ernie,
Yes.
do you have a link to your ticket sales for your next event, or just people just need to message you directly?
Yeah, they can message me directly. We still haven't figured out the best way to set these up on
Gotcha.
Eventbrite. We probably could have got this put on Eventbrite, but I kind of jumped the gun and went ahead and put out the ad for it before we had an Eventbrite link
Before
set
he
up.
talked to his wife.
Uh-oh.
Ernie, your last
That was exactly what I was talking
You know
about.
what? That-
We'll correct him at some point during the
See,
show.
no, I was-
This is what Brad meant, that Ernie could be mayor, but we know Denise would run the show, as Brad said.
here's what I don't know if anybody noticed the whole show. So Denise says something. Ernie looks up, shakes his head, and comes back. Adrian and I would be like, 1 second, 1 second. Ernie knows that if he does that 1 second, that finger's broken.
Yeah, I don't take that chance. I'm just like, yes, ma'am. Okay.
Well,
And
here's the
okay.
thing, Eileen, you know them better than we do.
No, I don't.
But what I hush.
No.
Just mute her. Just mute her for a minute. Mute her. But I know.
There you go.
I know that when I was there, the energy off of both of you, you immediately knew that you can trust both of you. That you can come to either one of you and say, hey, and not somebody look at you and go, the hell you talking about?
right.
And it would be taken seriously. Not that it's going to go out in public or anything else, but it would at least be taken into account that
Right.
this happened. And if other stories correlate with it, great. If they don't, we're not always right. And we don't always, when we say, I think I heard this, that doesn't mean that's what you heard. But
And-
it can be, but not always.
Well,
Right.
and two, they pay attention to everyone that's around them when you're investigating, and because they care, that make sure that you're safe. That
Right.
and I'm using the word safe loosely because
Right.
but that you're safe when you leave.
Right.
It's not just okay. You pay, whatever. You're here.
Right.
You're doing this event. Now leave.
Right.
They want to make sure you are the same person as you leaving as you were coming. If that
Right.
makes
And you can see them watching you as you're there and as you're leaving and as you come in. So
gosh, I'm being
yeah,
too
I
nice
mean,
tonight.
you feel safe. You do. I have I lived in Kentucky. I have been to Waverly. I had been in there, not in the building, but outside the building. When I found out the history, I was in my late 20s, maybe.
Oh, was it 50 years ago? Okay.
Shut up. You want me to tell your real age? You better shut up. But I will never have, before I got in the paranormal, and I will not do it now, ever go into a building without permission. It's just not going to happen.
Oh, me too.
Right.
But, I went there, I looked around. I didn't know anything about the paranormal. I didn't know I could feel things. I didn't know I could, any of that. But when I did go in, it was all a big planned event. It was, we didn't know who we'd meet when we got there. We had no idea. But going in, it was like, okay. Of course, the group I went in with, some of the people I should never have been there with. But when you go in, you go, okay, no matter what happens, I know somebody here knows what to do. Whether I do or not, somebody knows what to do. And you can look at Ernie and Denise and go, okay, they know. And if they don't, then we'll find somebody who does.
Right.
And we're going to be okay. And I think that's huge in this one that you're doing now, whether it's your home or whether it's the fort itself.
Well,
It's
and
people trust.
I think it was Tim said it up here. When you get Ernie, Denise, Todd, Leanne, and Beth all together, it's like being part of the family. They might go places without each other, but they don't go places without each other.
No.
Just like when we were all in Kansas,
Mhm.
Beth was on the phone with them the whole time, pretty much. They are a family.
Mhm.
And I remember my first conversations. Beth was like, "Hey, we're gonna do a group chat, and it's gonna be and I talked to Ernie and all and on this and all that." But it was just like, it was never a get to know you moment. It was instantly, I'm
Hey,
ragging
Chantel.
Ernie. I'm ragging him instantly.
Hey, sweetheart. Yeah, and that's something that's really hard to find because people get money hungry. People get, and they start backing off from what they know is right.
Right.
And start thinking money and start pushing people away. And I've seen that almost everywhere we have been. And you can look, even in the paranormal field, look around and see who has done that and who has not.
Yep.
And who has done that, the people credible in the field, of course, we're the little ones. Because nobody listens to us because we're not out there making a scene. We just don't.
We're not concerned with putting our face out there, putting our evidence out there and creating content.
Mm-hmm.
We're concerned with having experiences, telling the true stories of the spirits, the people that came before us, and getting to the bottom of history. Those things aren't as exciting.
Yeah.
That's not as much fun it's not as marketable.
Yeah.
It's not big for the TV shows or the YouTube channels, anything like that. So
and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you don't get all the exposure that some of those people that are interested in those things get.
Yeah.
One thing I want to do, because I do like to be accurate with everything. 26th of July 1910 was the build date of Waverly. That was not the building that is on the hill now.
I was going to say it was a smaller building.
Wasn't it?
Right. That was a 40-bed facility, which sat basically over top of where the body chute is. When you first go underground with the body chute, there was a wooden structure there that was a 40-bed facility that was built in 1910. Wasn't long till they realized that wasn't enough. They built a 140-bed facility. That wasn't enough. So then they built that 187,000 square foot monstrosity that's still there today, and it opened October 20th of 1926.
Almost 100 years ago now.
Yep.
And see, things like that is it's what matters. And those of us, I mean, we're little. Nobody knows, well, maybe Ernie's name, but nobody knows the rest of us. And Eileen, we all know her, but that's because anyway. But we know who is important. We know who we can trust, and we know, it's a small group of us, and that's okay.
Right.
Because we know when somebody says, "Hey, we have something going," that we know whoever we're with either knows what to do or knows somebody who does know what to do if something happens. Because that's our biggest fear, really. Those of us who really believe, that's our biggest fear of
being affected in some way by the energies that you encounter. Yeah.
Right.
It can be very negative. It can be very destructive if it's not handled right.
Right.
And, a lot of people, that's part of what I was talking about earlier with the metaphysical connection. It has to be there and it has to be acknowledged. And you have to have a certain knowledge of the metaphysical in order to deal with any attachments or being affected that might come about.
Right.
Denise created these things. You guys,
I've got it hanging in my car. It does not leave my car.
And they work, it's, I got affected when we were squatching the last time with Brad. He saw that. I got zapped, basically.
And that's another thing. We know most of the people that go with us, just like we're doing this event here, there's going to be 8 people that we don't know who they are. We don't know them. We're trying to show them they're interested. That's all it is. They're interested. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. Now, if something happens to one of them, of course, one of us is going to jump in. We're going to help. But we know that we know most of the people we go with, there's somebody that we can trust. There's someone that, we don't just go to events and go, oh, hey, I'm here. I don't know anybody and I'm just here.
Yeah, I know a lot of guys in this field and girls that they usually it's a YouTuber.
Yeah.
That go to investigations at these locations that are known to be haunted by themselves because that's cool.
Nope.
That is the dumbest thing ever.
I've seen
That's
that
great.
a lot.
They can have
And you see it's with a lot of these young kids that go like these kids like in their late teens and 20s that go out like really trying to make a name for themselves, but they're not doing it the right way. And you have to remember, I mean, at my age, I'm just a couple of years older than some of these kids, and even I know better than how they do it. If there was some way I could just go up and tell these kids, like, look, guys,
shake them sometimes.
yeah, and shake them too, yeah.
I've had to go. I've watched a YouTube thing like that. And something happened.
Brad.
And
Who's
I
this?
actually had to go because it wasn't far from me and
Is
go,
that your
what
Mimi.
the hell are
Oh,
you
Mimi.
doing?
Yeah.
Mimi's on here, Adrian?
Huh?
This is
That's
Mimi
Mimi.
talking.
I miss you, honey.
Yeah, that's unusual, Mimi. Why aren't you showing up under your name?
Oh, there's once in a while she doesn't, if she goes through the wrong page, it does that.
Yeah, Denise has that problem from time to time.
Yeah.
She just doesn't
But
know her
yeah,
name,
I mean,
that's not
and
what
Mimi
she
will tell you with these YouTubers, she's like, because she went to one and they started conjuring some crap. And she's like,
Oh, jeez.
I'm out. No, thank you. I'm
That ain't
out.
happening at the Abbey. We'll shut that down real quick.
Oh,
Yeah.
It won't happen. He
I'm
will
not
get
gonna
out.
go down the rabbit hole with this. Like, we've used that phrase a lot. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole with this, but there are so many people out there right now in this field that are doing so much damage, not only to themselves, but to the field in general
Yes.
Yep.
by calling themselves demonologists or thinking that they understand how to conjure
Yep.
or whatever when they have no real metaphysical background whatsoever, have no idea what a demon actually is.
Yeah.
They think, oh, somebody got scratched, there's a demon. No, it's probably some little kid that's just trying to get your attention. That's the only thing they could do.
Right.
Whatever, I mean,
It's a lot of work.
the field really needs a reset where people
It does.
get away from the paranormal entertainment
It does.
and gets back to what got it all started to begin with, and that's trying to discover answers about life after death and those things. I mean, it's so frustrating to me, as someone who's been doing it for a long time and is very passionate about it. It's so frustrating. Shut up.
550 years.
Don't pay any attention.
I pay all attention to Denise.
Irritated, and the unfortunate part, because of all of these YouTubers or those that are creating content, they're doing these stupid things. They're doing these stupid
And they're
things.
making
And they're-
tons of money out of it.
And they're joking, and they're also joking about it too. Like
Yeah.
they're just you literally can tell that these are a bunch of, again, like high school and college kids that joke around before even the investigation starts. And I look at these videos.
They're not
Exactly.
serious at all about
Yeah.
why they're there.
I
They're there to get clicks and likes and maybe get some groupies that start following them around
Yep.
where they can sell tickets to events for an ungodly price to a bunch of teenage girls.
See, I
can
look at
tell you
these-
that groupies that you meet at haunted locations never go away.
I just what I'm basically, I mean, basically, it's like I look at these videos. It's like how on earth
Denise,
am I
go
supposed
for
to
it,
take these
Denise.
kids
Pop him.
seriously?
Stop him, Denise. Stop him.
Here's the thing, though. When people, I'm just going to use me as an example because I don't know anybody else's story, but get into the field. I'm going on 6 years now. And you accidentally get in the field because you happen to be somewhere, somebody says, I'm a ghost hunter, and you go. You're like, oh, cool. And you go. And you learn a way that is just, and you don't know it because you're following your leader. That's all you're doing.
Yeah.
And they walk up and say, I'm a gatekeeper. I'm an alien.
Yeah.
What the hell did I just get into and
Yeah.
why? What just
My
happened?
soul dates back to 10,000 BC.
And I'm like,
One of the original Grim Reapers.
but you know, if I had not have met other people along the way that I could turn to and go, what's going on? I would probably be one of those YouTubers going, I can conjure anything and I can
making
control
that
it.
face in every promo.
Yeah.
Well, and you know,
And
even when I was, I'm sorry,
It's
Adrian. go
sad.
on.
It is.
You know, it's like even when I was some of these kids' ages, it's like I never even did that kind of stuff. Like it was difficult for me to figure out, you know, what was true and what was not. But I never gave up. I still kept going. You know, I mean, and I even had, you know, other kids and even teachers out there saying, you know, you need to keep your mouth shut on this stuff and stop trying this out. I was like, no, I can't. I mean, I basically thought it was just like I was trying to follow my dream, just like every other kid basically had something what they want to do. And I was saying, well, if you know, you see a lot of these kids, they're not quitting, they're fighting to get what they want. And I think, well, if even if it's not fully a professional thing, I'm still going to go for what I work for. I'm not going to give up.
Right.
Yeah.
After a while, you get now Mimi showing up.
There's me.
There we go.
You get to understand who you can trust and who you can't.
And
Right.
that's it. That is when you first come in the field. And that's something I do like people that are wanting to come in the field or just curious. I do classes for them. And
Thanks, Dave.
that's one of the first things I tell them. Look, you may go 100 places and think you heard something, or you can hear a knock. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. You can have your little dowsing rods, and there may be a water source underneath you. There may be who knows what. Use your gut. And the more you use it, the more it's going to work.
Yeah, like somebody said earlier in the chat, you know, your body is your best tool.
That was, I think, Robert who said that.
Yeah. That's always, I've always felt that.
And I love
We
this
don't need
comment
to
that
prove
Dave
nothing.
love this comment.
That
what
hair
Dave
on the
just
back
said.
of your neck standing up, the goosebumps, the feeling like you're being watched.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things are far more reliable than a freaking K2 meter or anything else that you're using.
The only thing, and I've said this 1,000 times, the only thing I've ever gotten with a K2 meter that is for sure is I saved one of my clients from a house fire. That's it. That's all that I know.
You found an electrical short in the house.
Yeah.
Sure did. Yep.
I use the meter so I can find out where the electricity is going.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing is 100% but your body. And you know your body. You know what you're feeling. You know what you can trust, what you can't. Can we prove that? Absolutely not. But that's okay. Who are we needing to prove this to?
Right.
That's not what we're out here for.
Yeah, I don't. That's why, you know, we talk about it all the time. We don't post a lot of evidence. We get evidence. I mean, I've got a handful of EVPs just from the last week here at our house. I could tell you about, we had freaking Civil War era music playing in front of our house with no one around, but 3 of us heard it clearly. You know, I could tell you about evidence and experiences that we've had that we just keep to ourselves.
Right.
Because I don't care what anybody else, because you can have the ultimate full-bodied apparition on video, you name it.
Kiss it.
somebody's
Walk
gonna
up
say
and
it's
kiss it.
fake, it's phony,
Mhm.
it's whatever. It's a lens flare, you name it.
Yeah.
There is a question about one of you EVPs.
Are the EVPs
No, we have not
telling you
gotten an
to put-
EVP telling me to put clothes on. No.
I gotta ask Todd a question.
Wow.
We do have one where Denise got catcalled by a Civil War soldier. Like I told you, I mean, it's very clear. She's had this soldier since the first night we were here that has played with her hair. I actually visually saw him manifest behind her one time.
Oh.
And so I was down at the city park
On your
a week
way.
or so ago by myself. Denise was here by herself, and she was sitting at the dining room table and doing some bills, and she felt like someone was standing behind her, so she started running a recorder, and was just basically saying, this is our house now, but we're going to try to restore it, and we hope that you enjoy what we're doing to it, and blah blah blah. And this fella starts playing with her hair while she's talking. She could feel it. And then when she finishes talking, you hear,
Aw.
Oh wow.
So my question is, has it ever kicked you out of bed, Ernie?
no. I have felt the covers being pulled off, though, when I was at home alone, when Denise is
Okay,
out.
so it wasn't Denise taking them.
No. She takes them when she wants, but, whatever.
Yeah, I do have a question
Hang on.
about West Point.
If you guys can hear this. Hang on.
Are there any businesses out there that could benefit from people coming to town and doing the investigations?
The entire town is going to benefit. We don't have restaurants right now. There's a restaurant that they're trying to open. They got a bunch of codes that they got to clear because the building that they bought is an old saloon from the mid 1800s that's in really bad shape, was in really bad shape, and they're having to bring everything up to code electrically and everything before they can open the restaurant in it. But we've got a couple of like gas stations and stores and things like that people will be stopping at when they're in town. I want to play this. See if you guys can hear this whistle. I don't know if it'll pick up.
Play it right there.
Try it here.
Okay.
I'm going to be sitting here at this table for a few minutes doing some bills and looking at some stuff. So.
Oh, I heard it. I heard it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was clear.
Well, they could have paid your bills for you, Denise.
Yeah, really. Without one little, chunk of Civil War gold and paid off the house or something, probably.
Brad said he's got a whistle up at the 6th floor of his OSR. I gotta say this, but Brad, that type of whistling is a certain message of don't ever drop the soap.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't want to get whistled at a male part of a prison if you're a guy. That's not.
Don't drop the soap.
Yeah,
exactly. Sometimes we get it right.
So
That reminds me, Jeremy, have you talked to Scott and Tammy and let them know anything about the house they're going to be staying in?
I might have told them about the dogs.
You might want to tell them about mom and dad too.
Uh-oh.
I can make sure I do that.
Yeah. 'Cause some people may not take to that real well. But
When I was there, I couldn't smell anything.
how the hell did you not smell anything? Mom and dad are sitting there lighting up like it's,
No, unless I was right there, literally, and they were actually doing it. Otherwise, I did not smell anything at all.
I don't know how. But that room you're staying in, your room is now my room for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to tell you something. I don't know how you didn't feel or hear anything in that room. Because I've stayed in there the last 2 nights now because our little girl just had her surgery and then she opened up her incision, had to take her back to the vet,
Yeah, Zach
have
was
her
talking
restitched.
earlier.
So now she's sleeping in the bed. I'm afraid I'm going to kick her. So I went in the spare room. And that's where I'll sleep till she's healed.
I need
That place is nuts.
I need to ask the Todd a question. So when you found me, was it the right one that you call family?
Hell no. Who would admit that?
Yeah.
Just saying.
So,
So
when you're sleeping in there, are you hearing things or are you feeling things?
Feeling things.
I don't feel things,
Well,
and I'm
since you left,
definitely not going to hear anything because I've got my hearing aids out.
we're seeing things walking through here. Mom has felt her chair pushed.
Remember you telling me about her being pushed?
There's a lot going on, and I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is, and I'm not going to speculate what it is. I asked Mom casually last night. I said, "Hey, is it an anniversary, a birthday, anything of some family that used to live here or maybe died here?" Just like lots of families died in this house. And she says, I don't think so. Okay, we're going to leave it alone at that point. But the air conditioner got turned off in that room the first night I stayed there. I'm like, come on, guys.
Wow.
Last night, things started moving around. I was just like, go away. I turned over. I'm like, this got to stop. Just go away.
all right, guys. Well, I'm just have to jump off of here.
Of course you are. Your ass is usually in bed by now.
Yeah, I can't believe that old woman Eileen is up this late already.
Well, no,
It's past her. It's past her curfew.
look, we gotta get my son to
Obviously,
football
already
practice.
missed
Alex.
way too much beauty sleep.
I know, right? I looked at you and it all went, but it tried to go to your way. But no, we gotta get my son to football at 6 a.m. So that's my day starts
6
at
a.m.
Yeah, they got since the heat wave, they have to get to football earlier for practice. So
That's
we're
okay.
having too many
It's
kids.
after 8 anyway, or after 8 my time. So whatever.
So yeah, because we got too many kids that have been unfortunately dropping dead and all that at football practices.
That's
so.
scary.
But Ernie, I would love to
Yeah.
say it was a pleasure, but it's Ernie.
I know you don't mean that.
But I do love you. You know I love you and Denise. But good luck with it. And I'm gonna get up there eventually one day. So be prepared. I might just knock on the door without telling you I'm coming.
That'll get you shot. Just saying.
That's Kentucky for you. You should know better. Just like down in Mississippi, you
That's
don't.
right. Don't show up unannounced.
That's
I
it.
got my gun's right there.
They do it differently down here than how we do it
You
up here.
don't need to do a shootout and see who can aim first.
Or just show them in a kayak. There you go.
Yeah.
But top has to be off.
You show up in a kayak, my brother be out there waiting for you.
Ernie would be going, no. He wouldn't be taking pictures. He's like, no.
This phone costs too much for me to take that picture.
But I do love y'all. And I'll be hollering at all y'all later. And the rest of you crazies, I'll see y'all next week.
All right. It's
Good night,
talking to
honey.
you always,
Night,
Eileen.
Eileen.
Night.
Here's the link for the group page. I don't know how I wasn't a part of that group already.
I don't either. I was getting ready to block you. But
But I joined.
yeah, we've
Am I
also
part
got,
of it, or am I part of it, or
I'm not sure, but if you're not, you, Adrian, Eileen, everybody, I'm gonna block anyone that's not in there.
I'll just build another Facebook.
Story
just
of
to
my
get in.
life. It's okay.
No, it's that little group is growing. I mean, we just started it a couple weeks ago. We've got over 450 members or so now, and
Good.
Awesome.
all of our ticket sales are coming through that group. You just go to the group, you find the post where we're advertising the events or the overnights. If you want to just do a private overnight, it's just $400 for a private overnight for up to 10 people.
That's
and that's for
awesome.
12 hours.
I hear my laughing in the background. What is that?
Yeah,
Is that coming
Denise is over there scrolling through Facebook and happened to stumble across the Nick laughter.
Oh,
Invite to Nick and Adrian.
yeah, I do intend on when it kind of slows down and you guys get into a routine or whatever. I do intend on getting a few of us. I don't want to do too many just because obviously we know too many is too many. But
A ringtone.
you know, some of us that know each other come down, spend the night and do an investigation and you know,
Yeah.
$400, 4 people. Okay, let's do this.
Yeah. I mean, it's not expensive. We kept the price down for a reason because we are investigators ourselves, you know, and we know that everybody's on a budget, and we feel like, you know, Fort Duffield being a new location, it's not going to be a destination location where like someone's coming from Chicago just to go to Fort Duffield, but it might be a place that you come to Waverly and, you know, you're 20 minutes up the road, come on down to Fort Duffield. And then maybe the next night you go to Octagon Hall,
Right.
or you go to Old Stone Jail or Scott County Jail, you know, one of the other locations that's within just a few hours drive of here.
Unless
Yeah.
y'all are there, I'll be damned. I ain't going to Waverly. I done been there.
The right people are, you know, Tina's back in charge of things at Waverly,
Oh, okay.
and things are right at Waverly again.
Oh, okay.
We just aren't back up there working right now.
No,
Who knows?
those of us from Colorado that are coming are just going to go there. I mean, if you're going to spend money on a plane ticket and all that good stuff, you're going to go one place, and that's the only place you're going.
Well, come to Fort Duffield. We'll show you a good time. Like I say, our number one rule for anything we do, even if it's just a public event, like what we got coming up August 5th, our number one rule is that everybody's going to have a good time. We can't promise that you're going to have paranormal activity, but we can promise that you're going to be treated right and you're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
And
Ernie, I'm going to have to eventually do an episode of Nick Files for Fort Duffield.
Yes, do it.
It's one of those things of it's worth it just to go see friends. I mean, it doesn't matter if you catch something great. That's an extra.
And you're helping to save a historic location.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's why we're doing these things that we're doing. That's why Todd and Leanne are doing the things they're doing at the Bell Witch Cave and at Trousdale House and the other locations they've been helping out.
I actually didn't know about that.
They're actually doing. Todd and Leanne actually have gotten reins of public events at the Bell Witch Cave, which, you know, it's a place that's really been hard to get into over the years. And
I would love to go, you know,
and
that's on the way.
you could come to Fort Duffield and then the next night go 2 hours down the road to the Bell Witch Cave and hang with Todd and Leanne.
It'd be awesome to see them too.
Yeah, they're okay.
Yeah.
I really like Leanne.
I would definitely
What were
like
you
to
saying,
go to-
Funny how you guys, you know, you Eileen, she likes certain people and doesn't like certain people, and what the hell? It's not
Everybody
like
likes me and Denise and Todd and Leanne, even Eileen. So there you go. And Beth.
she loves everybody.
Come on
She really
now.
does. I love her. I won't tell her that, but I love her. All those sorts of stuff.
He's
Block
talking
her.
about like what Todd said. So he even blocked me, his son.
I just thought of something, Brad. Hey, why don't you come up there with us?
Yeah.
You'll never be found in those 2 rivers, buddy.
Oh. Do it,
That
Brad.
calls for trouble.
I'd like to, I mean, anybody that can possibly make it. August 5th is going to be a good time. I mean, yes, we're trying to book these private overnights, like to have every one of them full if we could. But these public events that we're doing right now, this is the first one and the only one that we've got on the schedule. But we're planning to do more. But this one, August 5th, with Squatch Man. I mean, I say it all the time.
That would
Anybody
be
that hasn't met that guy needs to meet him. You will fall in love with him. You will be impressed with his knowledge and his way with the forest people, as he calls them.
that would be fun.
It's really cool.
That would be.
It's
Brad
not
said he'll
free.
bring a kayak.
It's
Brad, God, no, we don't want to see your boobs. Stop. Stop.
Yeah.
No.
Ken,
Yeah, Brad
maybe
meant-
Ken will make an exception.
Don't.
Is he local to Louisville?
Squatchman was born in Louisville, but he lives over in southern Indiana now. And we hang with him all the time. I mean, he lives
Jeremy?
real close to the Red Yeti, which you guys that follow us know that we eat at the Red Yeti about once a week. He
We need
doesn't
to
live
get
far
him
from
on
there.
the show sometime.
Jeremy, say that town again. Say the name of that town again.
Louisville.
Okay.
You're close. You got the lure. Right.
Yeah, well, we'll go with that.
I always say it as Louisville all the time.
Yeah, well, you're a Yankee. It's
In Kansas, they used to say Louisville.
that's even worse.
Yeah. And when I moved there, they were like, what the hell are you saying?
At
I'm
at
like,
least we're not saying it like Illinois.
Right, right.
Hey,
Everybody listen
don't
close.
even start. Hey, you know what? Just be glad Eileen's not here for that.
That's why I said
Louisville.
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 Louisville Slugger.
Louisville.
Louisville. Yeah, all right. There we go.
You did it. You did it.
There you go.
we do need to get him on this show sometime.
Yes, you do. You need to contact Squatchman and get him on.
I would love to learn a lot more about that. I would.
Yeah, that guy is
Especially going
amazing.
camping.
That guy's amazing. I mean, he is just he's one of a kind. I mean, I always say it. He's the one and only Squatchman, and there's nobody like him. He's our brother. He's one of our best friends in the world, and he is just a great, kind soul that everybody needs to meet. Brad made
And
it.
that's something hard to find anymore.
Yep.
Didn't you have him as a guest on your own show, Pac-Man
Oh,
Paranormal?
yeah. We've had
49?
him on a few times.
Okay,
Yes.
I think I've seen one of the episodes of him in it.
Yeah, we've had him on a few times.
Can't miss him. He's got a great big beard that comes down.
Yeah, you know, okay,
he-
I know who that is now. Yeah, when
Yeah.
you guys were talking about the goat man, yeah,
Yeah, he was.
Poplick monster. Yeah.
He's probably the most knowledgeable person out there on the Poplick monster. Honestly, I mean, he's got a casting of what he believes is the goat man's track.
Wow.
I was like astounded by it because like I've done my research. Like again, I do so much research on cryptids, including the Poplick monster, and no matter how many sites I've came across, they say that there's barely, if I ever found any report sightings.
Mhm.
But when I saw him, when he brought that cast up, it just like blew my mind when I saw that.
Right.
You ought to do one on Busco.
On what?
You ought to do one on the Beast of Busco.
The Beast of Busco. I know I heard of that one before. Isn't that one of the big phantom cats? If I'm correct. Oh, that. Okay, you know what? No, I know what that is. Yeah. I might even have it on the list. I know I have Pope Lick on it, so eventually I will be doing that one.
Yeah, because that's where Scott lives.
Okay.
Busco.
Interesting.
No.
Well, folks, I appreciate you bringing me on and let me ramble.
If there's anything else on Fort Duffield or West Point that you could tell us, because we're a half hour over.
Let's put the link up there.
I did. I put it in the chat.
Okay, perfect. That's all I need.
Yeah, he already put it up.
So I can hit it. Perfect.
A lot of folks get confused,
guys,
when they hear West Point. They think of like the military academy. That's in West Point, New York. West Point got its name because at the time of its settling, when it was settled by white men, it was the furthest point west that the white man had traveled. Actually, right next door to my house, there's a historical marker for John Shields. He was the gunsmith and the blacksmith on the Lewis and Clark expedition, and he grew up right next door to my house here. So
Really?
this town,
Wow.
yeah. I mean, that's a pretty important role
Yeah.
during the Lewis and Clark expedition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I say, he grew up here in West Point. But
That's cool.
there's just so much history in this town. It's a place that people need to experience and learn about. And I just really, I love it here. It's a great little town with so much history, so much potential for growth, and we're thrilled to be here and thrilled to be a part of that.
Come on.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
Come on.
I can't
Oh,
wait to see.
jeez. Come
Hey,
on.
Jeremy, just before we get off, I wanted to show that I was going to show it earlier, that article I found for my paranormal club very quickly.
Yeah,
Check
I was
this.
going to say.
Yeah, check it out. This is the first time I've ever seen this. Paranormal Club scares up a storm. And here's the craziest thing. This was posted a few days after we came back from Salina, Kansas. And just, if you guys are able to read it, it even has my name featured on it.
Send it to
Awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, give me that link.
Yeah, definitely. And I love what it says right here. I'll highlight for you. It's obvious to me they've been watching me somehow. They've seen
That's
where I've
great.
gone. And what's really cool about this, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Like when I talk to kids, current and former students at my former high school, when I tell them that I'm the founder and the original president of this club, they go absolutely nuts because to them, they think they're hanging out with a celebrity. Like they're like, what? Like they actually freak out. So
Well, yeah, it is to them, and that's okay because that way they take stock in what you're saying.
Yeah, at least they're not, promoting one of the paranormal entertainers.
Yeah.
right.
We're talking about a guy who legitimately wants to do things the right way and wants to show others the right way to do things. So I think
Right.
that you're a great role model for them.
And I've been doing, and now
Right,
basically
there
the
you
age I'm at, I mean, I'm doing this now. I've been doing this before I started this at a time before some of these kids were even born.
Right.
So,
There you go.
and they're,
Oh,
and I,
are we showing our age a
Yes,
little
it is,
bit?
it's amazing too how that even brings up about the Chicago hauntings tours, which I volunteered a few times on those. So I'm really surprised I haven't ran into these into the kids that have been going there over the years. But
You
I'll
probably
definitely-
have.
maybe I have, but it's really cool stuff. But yeah, Jeremy, I'll send you the link. I just copied it. So just wanted to share that. And yes, Brad, that club is still around today. For those that didn't hear, I started it back in 2007. So well over 15 years ago. And this was even before, because you guys all know too well, like, obviously, Ernie, like the story of me going to Waverly when I was only 17. I started this club before I even went to Waverly in 2010. So doing it at only 14 years old, and it's still running to this. It is a school club. Brett,
That's
so-
an awesome legacy for you there.
Yeah,
It really
maybe
is.
someday they'll have the Nick Malay
The high school.
at the school or something.
And see, that's the thing. You guys are doing good things. You're showing good things. That's what it's all about. That's names people can trust and not, oh yeah, let's see this show and see. No.
Right.
It's like, go ahead, Adrian. I'm sorry.
That's why I ended up I ended up on a TV show, and before it even aired, I said, please take it off. Please take it off. Because on the plane ride home, I was like, they had asked me to, they would like go around different things and try to make it worse than what it was. And on the plane ride home, I'm like, that's not what really happened. That's not what's going to come out. I already know this. And they would cut the parts that I said, well, that's not exactly. So I said, please just don't take it off. Just don't.
I have witnessed, in my time at Waverly and then just my time in the field in general, I've been around tapings for numerous TV shows, been a part of a few, and I have seen where they, the producers or the directors, whoever's there, will basically try to entice a certain reaction out of a cast member or an investigator that's on the show. And if they don't get what they want, they'll do another take.
That's exactly what they did.
like you're no, I mean, if something happens and I jump, that's real.
Right.
If you don't catch it when it happens in that moment,
Yeah.
when it's real, you just didn't catch it. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna recreate it for you.
Right.
But
And that's where I had a choice. Which road did I want to take? Did I want to get famous? Of course, you're not going to get famous off of one episode, but did I want to hinge my name on
And
I was on an episode? Or do I want to just not have a name and do what I'm supposed to do
right.
and what I know is right? That was
Right.
my two choices. And it wasn't a choice. Before I got home, I texted him and said, look, take this off. Don't do it.
It's one reason I'm proud to be part of
take
that.
that one episode and they will ride that.
They I can tell you everything I've seen out of this bunch, this entire team, 100% legit and real, and they work hard to keep it real.
Well,
Right.
you see the history, like I said with my club. I mean, that's true hard work right there. And one final
That's
thing
it.
I just want to bring up, other thing I forgot to bring up is I can't say for sure if this actually served as an inspiration, but my paranormal club is not the only club that's running out of high school. And Jeremy, I've talked to you about it before, is that historic school, Carl Schurz High School, which is one of the oldest operating high schools in Chicago been running since 1910. And they formed a paranormal club. Now, I can't say for sure if they got that idea from my club or not. I can't say for sure, but I don't know what it is, but I just feel that connection that they probably did. So now we got two paranormal clubs.
And that's
I've
okay.
never heard of any other high school having a club like that.
Me
Well,
either.
let alone two of them.
There's a couple of them
high
here in
schools.
Kentucky. There's a teacher who he's got a paranormal team called the Untouchable Paranormal, and they're based out of here in Kentucky. I forget what town here in Kentucky, but he's a teacher and he started the paranormal club at that school.
That's
and he's
awesome.
been going around throughout the county and the surrounding region trying to get them started in other schools.
That's
And
awesome.
I think it's awesome to as long as they're teaching kids the right way,
Right.
because I mean this stuff
Teaching them
it's,
like
And it's not only
it's
just
something that I believe in, and I think everybody needs to believe in it because you're missing out on so much. There's a whole other world out there when you open your eyes and your mind to the paranormal. There's so much more out there to life.
There
to
is.
experience.
There is.
Well, and it's not only just high schools too. I mean, in addition to the two paranormal clubs, one of our community colleges, Harper Community College, they have paranormal class there took, which I took shortly after graduating high school. I think they're still running to this day, but even more amazingly, at least on one occasion, 10 years ago, they even brought in John Zaffis for just a one night only event.
Godfather.
So, yeah, it's happening for both the high schools and colleges. So, and I'm just really glad I started basically kind of two of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think everybody that we know, we associate with, has done amazing things. And I'm proud of everybody that I'm
We
associated
don't
with.
all always get along. I mean, there's spats and feuds that pop up, and sometimes they'll last for years. Sometimes they might last a week or two and be over with. But I try to keep my circle with people who are legit and real. And, a lot of times that involves being friends with people that aren't friends with other people that are in my circle.
Right. Yeah.
And, I think you guys know exactly what I'm talking about and some of the people I'm talking about.
Yeah.
As long as a person is real about what they're doing and they're square with me, they're my friend.
That's it.
And they're going to be treated like family.
Nobody else needs to verify or
Exactly.
They don't have to care or even open their mouth about who's friends with who.
Right.
That's none of anybody's business. Is that person real with you? If they are, that's it.
Exactly.
Who needs to choose sides? That's
Hi, Lauren.
crazy. That's
Lauren.
all bull.
Yeah.
But everybody, Lauren, hi honey. Everybody that of course I have a small circle and that's okay. I have no problem with that because I know, yeah, of course we're going to have a spat. We're going to have whatever. But I also know we can go to each other and say, look, this is my view. Tell me your view.
Yeah.
We're going to meet in the middle.
Yeah.
And I may not agree with you in the end. You may not agree with me in the end. And that's okay.
Right.
We respect each other's view and maybe learn from it.
Exactly. We can all learn from each other. We can all grow along with one another, even if we're doing it on separate vines. You know what I'm saying?
And I, in our group, I am probably the biggest mouth there is going, you know what? Shut the hell up. I'm this redneck bitch. Shut up.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear you unless you got something nice to say about somebody. Don't. I don't want to hear you.
Right.
But
too much drama in the field already.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
See, I just let the other person talk and make themselves look dumb.
And they do, and they will, and that's okay. That's
Exactly.
perfectly fine. They can bring out their own true colors, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody needs to hate anybody. You can just go, you know what? That's great. You do your thing.
And be fine.
Yeah.
But
And I don't have anything to do with you because I don't believe, the drama you're creating or the false evidence you're doing. That's great. You do your thing. I'll love you from a distance. Goodbye.
right.
And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I really think the little group that we all have, that we all know each other, that we, everybody trusts everybody. You couldn't ask for more. In the end, you cannot ask for more.
You know what? And you guys have seen all too well, and I'm actually going to be doing it just a few days, which has been a long time since I've done. I'll be making one of my holiday music posts, for the entire paranormal community, obviously. Because
no fireworks.
Can't wait for it.
It's not fireworks, but it's a good song, actually. It
Lee
was
Greenwood.
actually.
It's 4th of July. Come on.
I
Lawrence.
Subject for just a quick second, because this has been affecting everybody except for Adrian. What is your air quality right now? Do you guys
Oh,
know?
yes.
We got a lot of smoke.
Wow.
So
We've got what do they call it? Air quality alerts.
it's the air quality alert. Yeah.
Well, I was getting that all week, and right now mine is saying that Fort Wayne is good.
Good.
We
Right
just have a
now for
lot of
us-
wind blowing through this evening, so it might be fine right now. I know, but
Right now for us, it's well, that's odd. It doesn't say. It's probably dropped, but what I'm actually going to do really quickly, if you guys can see this is what Chicago looked like yesterday, and it's just incredible.
Chicago has a lot of bad air anyway.
Well,
right.
it does, but I've
right
never
there
seen.
by Canada right now, which is on fire. I'm
I mean,
sure
it's like,
worse.
well, and we had the worst of it actually. I mean, some people say it was as air. I mean, we were ranked the 3rd worst in the world actually, and I couldn't believe it. So, but it's just amazing how it
the worst in the world.
Yeah, well, and that eventually became the worst. It was just such a shocker. But
You
to
guys
try
gotta
to,
be careful.
oh yeah, well, to try to relieve some of that tension, I actually said this, Jeremy, you're gonna know this all too well. It actually reminds me of a movie almost. It reminded me of that movie Silent Hill. I mean, we literally were like that town, for a number of hours.
I've been there, and it's not as smoky as I was hoping it would be.
Well, at the time, like yesterday, I think was even worse.
I'm
But
talking
yeah,
about
it wasn't
Silent
as
Hill.
smoky.
Y'all gotta be careful.
Silent Hill. That
What is
yeah,
the name?
well,
of it? I forget the real name.
oh,
of
it was it's in Pennsylvania.
Front door open. I keep yelling at him.
Gosh, I can't think of the name of it right now.
It's like right in front of me, and I can't.
Yeah, same here.
I'm actually looking it up because now it's like nagging right at me. It's
Centralia.
Yeah, Centralia. That's the one.
Yeah.
That stuff is no joke. It really isn't. And I am very thankful that we haven't gotten it here.
Folks,
you're probably so far west that you won't even. You won't.
Yeah, you won't get it.
Well, the worst
I've
part
got to
is
get
the
off
smoke.
to here, guys.
We got to shut this down tonight.
We do.
Yeah, I got to get off here. But it's been great talking to y'all. I appreciate Jeremy. I appreciate you inviting me to come on and give me a chance to talk about the fort. And I'd be glad to do it anytime.
Right, Todd.
And
Yeah, we're
Ernie,
definitely on
Lois
here.
also wants you to come back on her show that we do. The other show that I do, she
Just
wants you
say
to come
when.
back on as a guest at some point.
Say when. Just send me a
Absolutely.
message.
We got to promote this because this is someone we actually know, someone we actually believe in.
Well,
So
thank
we need to get it out there.
Yeah, I'm
Thank
going
you.
to try to do some promoting. I am terrible at it.
Well, I appreciate what you've been doing. So you all just keep doing what you're doing. Love you all.
Love you.
Take
Good
care,
night.
Denise.
Thank
Take
you.
Take
care,
care.
Ernie. Have a
Good night,
great night.
Ernie. Everybody out there in the audience, thank you for playing along. We had a very active audience tonight.
And to end it, by the way, on a very peaceful note, by the way, Lauren finished up that painting, by the way. Check this out very quickly.
Oh, wow.
Who did that?
That was Lauren.
That's
Lauren, are you feeling better, sweetheart?
I know since she was on, I wanted to try to get this. I said I was going to share this at some point in the show, and I was going to wait until she came on. Once she did, I thought, okay, I got to share this before we get off here. So
She's amazing. She really is.
background on that.
I love the background to it. Yeah, that is just incredible work.
Yes.
I mean, my jaw dropped when she said she was done. She showed me one when she was still a version of it when it was still in progress, when she was still working on it. But when she finished it all up, I was like, yeah, my jaw dropped to the ground. That was amazing. So great job, Lauren.
She really does do amazing work. I'm glad you're feeling better, sweetheart.
Okay. All right. So
And
next
before we close, we got one more thing.
Oh, okay.
Jen should be between me and Jen. She's going to be moving in Jen's backyard. So she's going to be real close to both of us. So we're going to have some adventures this summer.
Oh boy. And I also heard recently.
non-publishable adventures.
Oh, yeah.
I also recently heard briefly from Jill when we were doing Don Show Tuesday.
She's okay?
She's doing okay. She said her nephew, I believe, is out of the hospital. So she's starting to kind of come back slowly, but I mean, it's still going to be a while. But she is starting to make a comeback slowly but surely.
Good. I was worried about what happened to her because I couldn't see her. I couldn't, I couldn't see anything.
She never texts back.
Fortunately, wait, didn't you say you had her number too?
I do.
Okay, yeah, I haven't texted her, but either way, I was just glad to know that she came on for a few minutes just to talk with us.
Numbers, Nick. Make sure you give your mom my number.
I didn't forget. I did not forget about that. Okay. You're right.
All right. Just as long as she's aware, she can text me anytime.
Speaking of Jennifer, is she in now for the Abbey?
Jennifer and Jan are going to be here for the Abbey.
Okay, I knew Jan was confirmed, but I was talking to Jennifer when I was with her. She was waiting on information on that.
She did.
Lauren,
yeah. I'll text you on that.
Okay.
No, I didn't hit my head. It's just a 4th of July decoration because that's
me smacking him around.
I actually wanted to dress up with my because I always do right before holidays, dress up before 4th of July, but unfortunately, because again the air quality over here, we can't really turn our ACs on, so it would be kind of hot wearing all that stuff on. So this is as best as I can get.
Hey, let's get through the air quality issue and we'll get back to normal.
It's supposed to filter out the air.
Not when it's bringing it in.
Yeah, it has been raining over here. I mean, we had a huge rainstorm. We had a huge rainstorm that hit us earlier I actually woke up. It must have been about 5:00 in the morning when it happened. I actually slept downstairs in the basement because it was cooler down there, and I didn't have to work, fortunately, today. So I didn't have to worry about getting up. So then I heard all this rumbling, which I thought I took was thunder. It was just downpouring, and I'm thinking to myself,
oh wow.
God, I really hope that this is going to get rid of maybe not get rid of it all, but get rid of some of the air quality.
We're supposed to get a little bit tomorrow, quite a bit Saturday, all day Sunday, and most of Monday.
I just hope that we don't get this bad weather or the smoke by the 4th of July, because right now they're saying for our area it's going to be sunny and 90 degrees on 4th of July.
Good.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, the painting of the dog. Oh yes, she did one on a dog too.
Okay.
Oh here, yeah,
Well,
here
that-
it is.
We will call it quits.
Yeah, because we do have to get off. So here is the other one that she did, and this one's. I didn't really get to have a chance to look at all these yet, so this is my first time seeing
Oh
it.
my
Check
gosh.
it out.
Little Rottweiler.
That's even better.
I like that a lot.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. It is.
See what? There's another painting here, which because 4th of July is coming up, I'll show this one. Look at this with the flag, and
Absolutely gorgeous.
that's amazing. I like it.
That that actually reminds me of the circus tent from Killer Clowns.
You're actually right. It kind of does.
It really does.
Yeah, the only thing that's missing are the red stripes. Yeah. Oh wow, these are amazing
that's
paintings.
beautiful.
Since I'm on, I'll just scroll through them really quickly. Look at that.
I can put that on my
I
wall in a
I
minute.
like that
Lauren,
one.
Lauren, you sell those?
Did you
Message
do
me.
that? Did you do this one, Lauren? This black and white one?
A sea
Well, it's
turtle.
in that.
Oh, this one is good right here. This is a
Awesome.
perfect one, like for 4th of July coming up.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you haven't seen these ones before?
I haven't. I told you I've only seen a few of them. I haven't seen because I was really tired. I was
Message me.
exhausted by
I
that
want
night.
one.
Wow.
Oh, that's Eagle's Eye.
I think I saw that one.
It's Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe.
Oh my God. The next one, I think I'm going to love this next one. I think I know who's in the picture of this one. It's the Three Stooges!
Yes, it
is. Oh God, I love those guys. I watch them almost every night. Oh, Dobby from Harry Potter. And my sister was watching
That
them.
one is spot on.
That is great.
He's just so precious. He's like, can I have it?
Dobby.
Oh,
Free.
Whoa.
like a rotting unicorn.
No, that looks like a unicorn you'd want.
Like
That
a
looks like a
zombified.
story that needs to be written.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Baby Yoda.
Oh,
Wow. This is just, I like that with the sunset. This is seriously amazing work that she really, I mean, that's a lot of work to put in for a lot of these paintings.
Lauren, if somebody sends you a picture, can you paint it?
Well, I like this one too.
That last picture actually makes
Oh,
me-
wow. Whoa, go back. Go back.
This one?
That looks like, wow. Okay,
I-
I don't know how many people here meditate or do whatever, but that looks like the place I go to when I'm trying to ground.
She's also currently in the process of making.
Waterfalls are so peaceful.
She's also currently in the process of making one with Jaws, which actually would be perfect. She
We
finished
can
it up.
keep Jaws. Nope, we can keep Jaws.
Well, I was going to say that would be perfect to have.
With Charlie the Unicorn. I hate that thing.
I was going to say this would be a perfect picture for when she's done with it. That she should have it done like when Shark Week comes on, because it starts on July 11th, I believe.
No, not human. No, not human. It's landscape.
Well,
That
I
really
like
looks
that a lot.
like exactly where I go when, yeah. Anybody that meditates would understand.
She really should begin some of these like paintings like into like art exhibits. Seriously. I mean, I don't know how else to really say about it. I mean, these are just absolutely stunning. I like this
Yes.
one though.
Lauren, you're amazing, sweetheart.
She is a true artist. Let's see, just want to see what she was saying. She doesn't do human portraits, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I don't blame her.
Okay.
All right, so
All right.
almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get off here.
Yeah. So next week, we don't have anybody lined up, so I guess we're going to have another fun night.
Oh, this is for you, Adrian.
All right, perfect. I got the hiccups.
So it's been a long night.
I need my gummies. That's what's wrong.
Yeah, you need your gummy bears.
It's not, no bears. I need my THC gummies.
Angelia's had hiccups the last couple of days. And I would try to scare her to get her to stop hiccuping, and it wouldn't work. And after about 5 times, I'm like, I don't want to keep trying to scare her.
Yeah. You
Trying
think it
to
may
stop
have?
these hiccups.
You think it
Drink
may have?
water.
Yeah,
Let her drink water. She'll be fine.
That's what I always do. I always drink
it
water.
did not work.
It's
it
your
didn't?
esophagus that's contracting, so it's like you got to drink water to reset.
I didn't see this. What Brad said, that painting I showed of the Three Stooges. It's Jeremy Nick and Adrian had that last pick.
Actually, you know what?
He's talking
You know
about
what?
the Three
She could
Stooges
probably
painting.
Do something with the 4 of us as the 4 Stooges when you add Shemp to it.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
Special
sweet
Forces
Brad.
League, that's what it is.
Brad,
Breathing brown bag worked for me once.
that's for panic attacks. The hell's wrong with you? Hyperventilating.
Yeah, that thing that kind of looked like the tent from Killer Cloud Sprout or Space Journey. Yeah, Special Forces wings. That's
That
what
was
All
it
right,
First
let's
thing that
log
came to
off
my mind.
before Brad can say another damn thing.
That was the first thing that came to my mind.
I kind of figured you were going to say something like that. That's actually pretty funny.
Oh, that would suck.
For 12 hours.
Oh, 12
No, don't
hours.
tell me that.
I would
Oh,
panic.
God.
All right, guys. We're going to call it.
Yeah, this time for sure.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Join us next week. And also for 4th of July, be safe out there and keep your pets inside.
Yes. Happy 4th of July, everybody.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
Night, guys.